It is 6:01 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The 2025 NFL schedule officially released last night, and we know the Tennessee Titans' full 17-game slate. Some notable takeaways. The Titans are one of three teams in the league that received 0 primetime games, joining the Browns and the Saints. The Titans will have a Week 10 bye week this year, and they will also have a stretch of 4 consecutive home games, stretching from Week 9 to Week 13. In other Titans news, they were awarded linebacker Afrani Orji off waivers from the Saints yesterday. Orji played college locally at Vanderbilt for 4 seasons and is entering his 3rd season in the NFL. In other NFL news, the Baltimore Ravens and running back Derrick Henry reached a 2-year, $30 million extension yesterday with $25 million guaranteed. Henry had 1,921 rushing yards as well as 16 touchdowns last season. 8 times is the charm for Nashville SC as they beat the New York Red Bulls last night 2-1 thanks to goals from Patrick Yazbek and Hani Mukhtar. The win marked the first time Nashville has beaten the Red Bulls since being a part of the MLS in 2020. And in the NBA last night, the Boston Celtics stayed alive, beating the New York Knicks 127-102 despite Jason Tatum's absence, but are still down in the series 3-2. But Steph Curry and the Warriors, they were eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves last night 121-110. The T-Wolves advanced to the Western Conference Finals. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you have to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning and welcome to your Thursday on 104.5 The Zone, a new Tennessee Titans schedule official here in Nashville, Tennessee. Lots to discuss over the next 4 hours with you, the first 4 hours of the day right here on 104.5 The Zone. We begin this morning with a little bit of news and with a show announcement here today. Alongside Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. We will get to the new Titan schedule. We will get to all of the topics there are to cover this morning, as always, over the next 4 hours. But we begin today with some station news. Kayla Anderson is no longer on this show or a member of our team here at 104.5 The Zone. And decisions like this are never easy. Announcements like this are difficult because Kayla has been a valuable member of our show and the station's work both on and off the air. We truly wish Kayla all the best. We are thankful for the nearly 3 years we spent working with her. So we begin this morning making that announcement. Moving forward, this is the show. We are not going anywhere. Myself, Ramon, Justin Hawkins, our producer, we will continue to work every day to bring you guys the best show we possibly can. Ramon and I will continue sharing this time with you and creating content for you because this is your show. These are your mornings, and we certainly do not take that lightly, the privilege that we have to spend our mornings with you. So we wish Kayla all the best. Moving forward, this is the show. This is us. This is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. And Ramon, I know, like I said, days like this are never easy, and we certainly wish Kayla all the best. She will continue to have success in her career and whatever her next chapter is.
No doubt about it, man. Changes made. It's a lot of stuff that has to happen to go through this process, too. So it's never easy. It's never easy on the company, never easy on the people that work with folks that are no longer here, too. So it's a lot that could be said, but I'll just say this. I appreciate Kayla. She's an awesome lady, man. A pro's pro when it comes down to what she does and how much she does, too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for her. I appreciate her in a lot of different ways, man. And this stuff with business and change happens often. So just one of those things, man. And like I said, I wish her well moving forward in her next endeavors. So she's still around from my understanding, and we will be too. So I'm sure our paths will cross in some capacity. So, yeah, well, here we go.
Here we go is right. So this is Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. And look, there is no easy way to transition into sports, to transition into the topics of the morning. So it'll feel a little disjointed from our point of view, just moving straight into the Titan schedule. However, we're not doing our jobs if we don't. And we don't own it and we don't move on. So nobody is sweeping anything under the rug. We're not, trying to bury this announcement at the beginning of the show. We'll continue to let people know what the situation is, what the news is of the morning. more as more people wake up and join us today. But wanted to begin with that. We are Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Let's do it, Ramon.
No doubt, man. The show has to go on and will go on, Will.
That's right.
So whether it's me and you or somebody else in years to come, man, this station, this radio wave that we're on must continue on, Will. We got a job to do, man. So
show goes on.
Rock.
That's right.
Yep.
615-737-1045 is our number. If you do call in this morning, obviously we will keep that to Titans, to sports, to obviously the news in the Nashville sports world. We're not going to address any more about the personnel change here on the show on the phone. So again, Justin will communicate that. Anybody who calls in, we'll continue to have those discussions as we typically do about the Titans, about the Vols, about anything in between through each and every morning here in the immediate future. So again, we ask that you just bear with us on that. That is the news. And we begin. So, Ramon Foster, the Tennessee Titans have a schedule, and I hope you bet the under, everyone, on the over-under we set. 1.5 primetime games, not even close. The Titans won't even have to turn on a stadium light. And what was your initial take on that?
That was my first one, was to look at that and see how many it was. And I said the exact same thing. Oh, I lost that bet. I think Bucks set the line at 1.5. I was like, I'll go over. We're good. He was like, you sure about that? And I was, and I lost. So there we go, man. Titans, no primetime games. But what I will say is this. Whether it's because of the FC West or in general, they felt like the Titans needed the afternoon games. I like the afternoon games. Gives you a little bit more rest, gives you a little bit more of a bigger crowd that could potentially watch you. I always considered those semi-primetime games in a sense. And here's the other part of it. If Cam Ward and this Titans team do what they're supposed to, I mean, I don't think you're going to get that Kansas City Chiefs game flexed because I think they play on Christmas this year.
Right.
But that December 21st or maybe that 28th or the Browns game could be flexed later. They can do those types of things. It's a matter of, I don't think anybody could or should be upset about the why as it pertains to why the Titans didn't get any. I got a theory on that, too. I'm sure we'll talk about it in some sense because there's 3 teams that didn't get a primetime game. But this is a fair schedule to me, I feel like. It's got a little bit more flow to it than it did last year, although one stretch is very questionable to me.
It's got consistency, and the report from Jordan Schultz was accurate. At Denver to start it. We'll go week by week, tell you the intricacies of it. Coming up here in just a few minutes. To me, Ramon, the biggest thing is you don't have a rest advantage more than one time the entire schedule. You only have a rest advantage over a team one time, and it's off of your bye week.
Yeah.
Week 11, when you play the Houston Texans at home, you come off a bye. They will turn around to Thursday Night Football the next week, but they're coming off just a normal Sunday game. Aside from that, you have teams on mini buys a couple of times. Against the Chargers in week 9, you have a mini buy for Arizona in week 5 when you go there. Rest advantage for the 49ers will be coming off a bye week on December 7th in week 14 when you play them in week 15. So I think that's the biggest challenge for this team. They don't have significant rest advantage. And without a Thursday night game, you also don't get a mini bye week where you get a week and a half the next Sunday.
Oh, you don't, but what you do get, Will, is that, week 10 bye week? That's placed beautifully in the middle.
Right.
Because last year, the Titans got hosed. They got hosed big time with that week 5 bye week with no Thursday night, no prime time later in the season. They got absolutely nothing. Like, yeah, you got one primetime game last year against the Miami Dolphins. They immediately gave you a bye week. That didn't sit well with me. And I think we saw a little bit of that, too, with how guys ended up getting banged up last year. There was no real break to where guys could sit out or have a week off later in the season. And no matter what anybody will say, football is taxing. And I don't care who says it's soft. I don't care who says, hey, the game has changed. No, absolutely not. You need that recovery, albeit a later bye or in a position where you get that mini bye from that Thursday night game, which the Titans did get any of it. I think if you are in a position where I'll use Big Jeff. That's the one that's just stepping. I mean, that's standing out to me more than anything. If he could have at some point had an entire week off from the elbow injuries that he had, then you probably get at least a better burst down the stretch. Or Tavondre Sweat and all the other young fellas that wore down. We talk about JC, how good he started at the beginning of the season.
Right.
and you just had to keep churning out those games, man. That's a lot for anybody, no matter the age.
Well, we all got a full dose of Schedule Rizzy yesterday. The announcement video from the Tennessee Titans, who put out their schedule like it was a medication. Schedule Rizzy, new treatment for moderate to severe FSW, football season withdrawal. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good.
A lot of national folks, again, saying the Titans had one of the best schedule release videos. The Chargers always overdo it. I didn't dive too deep into it, but I thought the Titans hit the mark again on social media.
I watched the whole thing. It was actually pretty good. At first, I was like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I watched the Titans one.
Yeah, it was one. I thought it was two. I thought the Chargers was too long. Wasn't it Minecraft?
4.5 minutes, Minecraft.
What are we doing?
Somebody played so many video games to put that together.
Yeah, that was a bit too much. And I like the technology behind it. But then with Minecraft, like, unless you've been in it and can read it, it is one of those situations where it's just like, why are you sitting and spending all this time? But the schedule Rizzy, though, I thought it was a blend between, hey, a medication you needed, meaning football season, and also the Riz of being able to go and do your stuff. Like, Riz is one of those words that young kids
think about that.
Initially, when I heard Rizzy, I was just like, oh, you just rizzed them up, huh?
That's how I know that you have a middle schooler in your household.
Yeah, man. I used it one time in front of him. He was like, Dad, no, let's not use that word. Yeah, he used it.
The Jonah Hill of...
I was just like, well, I'm like 10, 12 years younger than all your other friends' parents. That doesn't matter to you? I'm not cool enough?
Fair enough.
Dad, like, absolutely not. You're not cool still, but it is what it is.
I love it. 615-737-1045. We stream the show live on 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The Evan and Bank chat open here this morning. We'll give you our reaction week by week to the intricacies, the challenges of the Titans schedule, a long road trip coupled with a long homestand with a bye week right in the middle of it. We'll talk about that right here on Ramon and Will, 1045 The Zone.
Did you know that up to 50% of the air you breathe in your home comes from your crawl space? Well, have you ever looked in your crawl space too? So I get it. Most of us don't even want to know what's in there. But moisture in your crawl space can create an unhealthy issue that can make their way into the air you breathe every day in your home. It's Ramon Fawcett. This is where United Structural Systems can help you out. USS has been keeping homes dry and stable in Middle Tennessee since 1994. So here's the thing. You know they aren't going anywhere. Help control moisture and musty smells with mold treatment and crawl space encapsulation that comes with the USS guarantee. Encapsulation helps reduce high humidity in your crawl space, help deter mold and mildew, and protect your crawl space from pests and wood rot. So turn your crawl space into a healthy space. Reach out to the company I trust for foundation repair and waterproofing. All right, you can go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com or call them 615-488-7855, United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, brewed by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran and Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer. We got a Titan schedule, Ramon Foster.
Yeah, we do.
And we're going to run through the intricacies of it, the details of it, and what it means if you are scheduling trips, if you are looking at homestands, if you are a Titans fan. Just curious of what it means for your team. Let's start with the basics, Ramon, outside of the primetime games. No primetime games for the Titans. We'll talk more about that as the show continues. What was your number one observation, the number one thing that stood out, either positive or negative, about this schedule?
The first 4 weeks of the season, you got 3 AFC games. You got to jump out hot. Looking at the way this schedule is set up, you go to Denver. You got another AFC game, in week 3, and then you got a 4th one in week 4 against the Houston Texans. And not only that, but if you can split or get 2-0 as it pertains to beating the Colts or the Texans, I think the Colts are a great introduction into AFC South play. If you have the ability to get one of those wins, man, I think you, especially with young Cam Ward as the quarterback, you put yourself in a real good situation. 1, build his confidence up, but also 2, reestablish yourself in this new season in the AFC South. But you can't start the season slow whatsoever. Those first 4 weeks of the season matter a lot. They kind of set the tone. Now, teams get hot down the stretch, but a lot goes on over that time right there. Injuries, guys get tired, bodies get worn down. To be early in line to play 2 AFC South teams, I think stood out the most to me, too. And there's a couple of other trends that that could work for against the Titans later in the schedule, too.
So you start week 1 in Denver, like we mentioned yesterday. The L.A. Rams, your one NFC opponent in the first 4, coming to town on Sunday, September the 14th, a noon start on CBS. Indianapolis in week 3. This is one thing, Ramon, that we mentioned yesterday. There could be value in playing Indianapolis early in the season when Anthony Richardson is still the quarterback.
It could be. You mentioned this yesterday.
Yeah.
This was something you brought up. Was like, if there's an opportunity for their franchise quarterback to win, and that's Anthony Richardson. I don't care what Daniel Jones is doing unless he just really craps a bed. And I don't think the Colts are going to be in a position to try to fight off Anthony Richardson not developing the way you want to. I feel like they're going to be in a position where he has to start the season off. The same way I feel about it in a sense with Cam Ward, too. It's just like, we say what we want to, but you want your number one guy under center. And once to that point, if he isn't what you want him to be, or to be quite honest with you, he hasn't made the adjustments you want him to make, meaning running the football, knowing how to get saved, knowing how to get down, etc., you can take full advantage of that, man, big time.
3-game road swing, 5-game stretch without a road trip. No primetime games for the Titans, the major headlines as a part of this. So week 4, you go to Houston, second straight divisional game as well for Houston, who goes to Jacksonville the week before. They're on Sunday Night Football 2 weeks before that, or in week 2, I should say, against Tampa. So that's your first 4 weeks at Denver, L.A. Rams, Colts, and at Houston. Week 5, Ramon, the first time that a team has a rest advantage against you. The Arizona Cardinals will play on Thursday Night Football in week 4 against Seattle. Then you go there to Phoenix in the house that Coach Mack built, as Brett Bryan said yesterday, to take a look. Any house that Coach Mack walks in is the house that Coach Mack built. Let's be honest. Mini bye for them. It is their first AFC game already after playing 2 NFC West opponents. Phoenix travel, not as bad as maybe other ones that you have in the league, but that is still 3:05 Central Time, CBS, that's Sunday, and the first time a team will have that rest advantage. How significant is the mini bye?
For a team?
Yeah.
It's 2
Coming off the
days
Thursday game.
off. Yeah, it's 2-3 days off. It matters. Like, you say what you want to about it. You get an opportunity to reset yourself. You get the early evaluation. I mean, that evaluation of yourself, and also see who needs to step up and get moved out. Teams make changes that time of the year right there, too, as it pertains to who's doing good and who's not. I view that early in the season, though, as not that big of an advantage. What I will say is this. You can take advantage of a team that somewhat may fall asleep at the wheel coming off that early bye, too, because to be quite honest with you, I've had the early bye 1 or 2 times. It sucks because you don't get a real opportunity to understand what you are. I've gone in that bye wheel 0-4.
Sure.
That has happened before, too. But as a team, you kind of want to get – if I could do the buys, if I was the scheduler for the NFL, nobody would get it until like week 6. I think that's a part of it. So them getting it, what is it, in week 5, whatever it is.
The Titans this year is week 10.
No, I know the Titans are in week 10, but what I'm saying, like the opponents they'll have to see coming off that bye.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it should bode that. I mean, I don't think it should be a disadvantage to them that earlier on in the season. The Titans having that week 10 is perfect.
I'd say that's if you are picking a time to have a bye week, week 10 is probably it.
That's perfect.
To be honest with you.
Yes. After 8 or at 8, no later than 12 to me is the way I see it.
Because isn't there some element, too, of like if you're struggling or if you've got, guys who are trying to learn on the fly in the middle of the season, sometimes the best thing to do is just play.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a lot of soul searching that can happen in a bye week, but there is a time that is ideal as well.
It is. And also, too, later in the season, if you have that bye, you also look at this situation and say coaches can decide how they want to deal with you, depending on how good or bad your team is, too. If you're a bad team, coach might just tell you, get out. We don't need you guys. There's a reset that need to be had. If you're on the winning side of things, coaches like to hold on a little bit more and give you those designated days off instead of bonus days off.
Right.
Like, I think you're supposed to get from Thursday to Sunday off. Some coaches, man, if you are good, they will, hey, you guys should get away. We got a bonus day on Monday. Those are the types of things that will happen to you. But a week 10 bye for this team right here, the way it's set up, and not just that, Will, more times than not, the consistency of the 12 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, sure.
You catch a rhythm with this one.
How much does that make a difference for a young team? And I think this is where for this football team, there is value in keeping the same routine week in and week out. And I know you're on the West Coast for a number of games, and you do have one 325 game that's not on the West Coast when you go to Indy in week 8 on October the 26th. But every time you play at home, it's at noon.
Yeah.
It's the same time getting up. It's the same time getting to the stadium. It's the same time walking in and doing warm-ups. Like, how significant is that for this football team?
Very much so. Because, again, with so much newness that they dealt with a little bit of last year and so many young guys, too, that you feel like are going to end up playing a part in this thing, too, Will, guys are creatures of habit. Like, I would go to the weight room every single day. I go to the facility at the same time every single day. I got to be in my car by this time. And you create this method of operating that your body gets used to, number one, but it also, for the young guys, helps you understand what the NFL is, too. I think one of my biggest adjustments was realizing I don't have to go to class. What? And not,
nice.
It really does play into it. But not just that, though, Will. Like, what am I doing with my free time? Figuring that type of stuff out. How much are the coaches going to want to occupy my time to it? And the other side of it is, if you can find your schedule where it's not an 8:20 game on Sunday, then a 1 o'clock, what it does for you is allows you the proper time to catch up on how to be a pro. And I'll even say this, too. For some of the vets, them getting back into their modes of understanding, hey, fellas, the same thing needs to be done week in and week out.
Sure.
Not that you want to become predictable, but the best way for you to do your job, especially as an athlete that's got to go perform in front of tens of thousands of people every weekend, is to have a flow and rhythm in what you're doing. It really does matter, Will. And it's a small thing. And I tell people all the time now, like, my schedule is overly busy now because people know I got free time. Like, and also being that busy during the season gives you a sign of peace if you choose to have it too, because I can just say, man, not tonight. I'm preparing for the game, and
Makes
there's
sense.
validity in it too.
So that's through the first 5 weeks. You go to Arizona. Week 6 to Las Vegas. So we do get back-to-back West Coast. I know that you're not on a coast in Phoenix or Vegas, but you're not far away either.
Right.
I wonder how Brian Callahan's going to do this.
What you mean?
To Vegas week 6 after being in Arizona week 5. Do you consider just staying out there and not flying back after the Arizona game? You have a week of practice in Arizona, and you head straight down to Vegas on your normal travel day.
I think it it depends upon the budget, being quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Are they willing to fly over?
It's an
to
AB
Vegas?
decision, not just Callahan's decision.
It's not just his decision. I'd expect them, Will, to fly and come back. Just watching how most teams do it. Like if it was California, I think that's a different conversation. From here to Vegas, what is about 3.5, 4?
Something
right
like that.
at? Yeah, I hadn't flown to Vegas in a while, but we just recently flew to Arizona. I know that one's about 4 hours.
Sure.
It's not bad. And like I said, they can come back from that one. And depending on which time zone Arizona is in, I think they don't switch time zones. It could be worth it just to come on back. It might be an hour difference more than anything. I think they come back. I don't think this is as big of a deal if it was L.A. Rams and then Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And the only reason I bring it up is because in 2017, like we talked about yesterday, Mike Mularkey made the decision to stay out on the West Coast. The Titans played the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers back-to-back. They lost both of those games. It was a big talking point at the time. They stayed out that direction the entire time, and different teams do it different ways. But I think you're right. I think if this was, if this was even still San Fran in Arizona, or you had to go further west, maybe you don't backtrack as much. But I agree. It feels unnecessary. So Vegas in week 6, they will be back home after playing Indy on the road. Yeah. They start with the Patriots, the Chargers on Monday Night Football, the Commanders, Bears, and Colts, the Las Vegas Raiders. And then week 7, the New England Patriots come to town, coached by Mike Vrabel. They will have just played the Saints on the road. The one element of this that I like for the Titans, Ramon, is that will be the Patriots' 3rd straight road game.
Good. Well, I say that in a joke.
Roger Goodell throwing the Titans a bone a little bit.
Yeah. 3rd straight road game. That's going to be a challenge for him and this young quarterback. I did see a clip of Vrabel yesterday in the team meeting rooms. Looked like he's changed.
Saying Vrabel-like things, but maybe a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder.
He was actually getting physical. That's what it was.
Yeah, I saw that video,
He was actually getting physical. I was like, he just can't help himself. That's
or
good.
Leadership and teamwork kind of stuff.
Teamwork, yeah. That's perfectly placed to me, too, that game. You got his young quarterback that's got to get up to speed, plus the emotions of that game. Say what you want to about it. I think I told you guys last week, I've already had a New England Patriots ESPN beat writer hit me up about this game. This is week 7?
Yep.
A 1 o'clock game at that. There would be a lot of fanfare about it around it. It wouldn't shock me if you don't have a primetime game, you still get the A group at this 12 o'clock slot here in Nashville. And if both teams are good, is this the time of the year where they can at least try to flex it? But I doubt it. This is a big one for the Titans. Again, they're coming off the road 3 times in a row, too, for the Titans.
Yep.
So it's about as even as you can get. The best thing is those guys will be ready to come home in front of their home crowd. I will say that too. That is one of the, I guess, the complaints I have of this one. The 3 straight road games, but it's earlier in the season and you can adjust to it. Now, that in itself also is something that you want to have a routine with too.
Sure.
The home, away, home, like, I don't necessarily like that. That 3 in a row, again, sets my mind that we're going into somebody's Lions den. And I think that's a good place to be at, understanding how to be a road team, because that matters too, especially for the young guys that's got to deal with crowd noise, the adjustments of the hotel and traveling, and everything's a little bit earlier on the road too.
So that's week 7. You talked about the potential for that to be flexed to a primetime game. So the way that works in the NFL, the league in weeks 5 through 10 can use flexible scheduling for Sunday Night Football up to 2 times, weeks 5 through 10. So it's in the NFL's discretion from weeks 11 through 17. For Monday Night Football, at the NFL's discretion through weeks 12 through 17. So Sunday Night Football is the only thing that they could make Titans-Patriots. That week, in week 7, Sunday Night Football is Falcons at 49ers. One of 5 primetime games, by the way, for the Atlanta Falcons. On purpose.
No way. Atlanta got 5?
Honestly, that is a game I could see being moved. If the Falcons aren't good, if Michael Penix doesn't hit immediately, if the 49ers aren't immediately back to their normal selves, if they get off to another slow start and are banged up, because that's been a very injury-prone team as they've gotten older, I would not be surprised at all. Like, that's not like Lions-Chiefs. Like, Lions-Chiefs the week before, that ain't getting moved.
Yeah.
Falcons-49ers wouldn't shock me on that one.
On both sides, though, too.
Right. Like, Titans-Patriots has storylines. Like, if Cam Ward of the Titans at that point – if both teams have winning records and you've got that storyline with it, would not shock me at all if that became Sunday Night Football.
Because here's the thing, to me, I know the 49ers got a lot of they have a lot of name guys on their team too, but Debo's not there anymore. This is Brock Purdy's show, right? As it pertains to how he's going to man this. And then, of course, too, with their exodus that they've had on defense, like, look at what their draft was. It was all young guy defensive players that are going to have to step up early, too. So it's going to be fascinating on both sides, Will, not just the Atlanta side for me. I don't know, Kittle's there. They got guys.
They do.
But how much can Kittle keep them a name, and not just at that matchup against Atlanta, too?
In Santa Clara would be the game on that Sunday.
Yeah.
So Week 8 to Indianapolis. They will have just come back from Los Angeles to play the Chargers the week before. So that's a very quick turnaround for Indy.
I will say right there, too, just a quick point to be made. That one you got to have the second time around.
You play the Colts both times in the first 8 weeks.
For 8 weeks. If you can 2-0 them.
Got to steal one.
I think they're good enough to just take it. You know what I'm saying? Or it should be competitive enough. This is one team in the AFC South to me that you should be competitive enough with to sweep them. If you can sweep them early in the season, Will, that settles so much more moving forward.
That would be ideal. No doubt. You play the Chargers the week after that. This is the second time that a team has a rest advantage against the Titans. Mini bye week for LA. They are coming off a home game against Minnesota on Thursday Night Football. Week 10, bye week. Not bad. Lines up with Tennessee's second bye week, the Vols' second bye week in the college football schedule. So might be a little bit of a slow week around here that week. Yep, it does. That was the first thing I did the second these came out was cross-reference it with the Vols. Week 11, you play Houston. This is the one time all season that the Titans have a rest advantage with more days off than their opponent.
Yeah.
The only time all season. Texans will turn around to Thursday Night Football the next week, but they'll be coming off a Sunday game the week before. Week 12 versus Seattle, second straight road game after going to L.A. to play the Rams. So, again, travel challenges for Seattle. That is the longest road trip for the Titans in the NFL. It's not for Seattle because that would be, I guess, going to, like, Miami.
Right.
But that's a long flight.
I think
Seattle to Nashville.
I think they fly over after the Rams game, if I'm Seattle.
Straight from L.A.?
Yeah, I've heard historically they are teams that come over early. 49ers are another one of those teams that fly over early, too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at least they made us jealous because we never did that type of thing, though, as a team. So
got to pay for a lot of hotel rooms.
Yeah, no, and to be quite honest with you, that's what expensive. It is. If you have an ownership that's rich, right, or wealthy, you can afford to do that. Philly's another one of those teams.
Yeah, right, totally. Jacksonville, week 13 at home, second straight road game for them after going to Arizona. Week 14, December 7th in Cleveland.
Good luck, baby.
Their second straight home game. You're saying good luck to the Titans because it will be very cold.
It will be cold.
How excited are you to not be freezing on the sidelines for that
Listen to me, man.
I know you're going to miss Titans radio, but you might not miss it on December 7th with the lake effect snow in Cleveland.
100%. That's what I look at. When is the Cleveland game? Because that in Chicago, if you play them.
That's the one weather game that you're going to definitely have to deal with away from home.
That's the one weather game. Yeah, I would bundle up to all folks that are going to that one.
Yeah, no doubt. In San Francisco on week 15, third time a team has a rest advantage against the Titans. They'll be coming off of a bye week, a full bye week. That's a late bye week, though, for San Francisco in week 14.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's a little too late. I'd rather have what the Titans have, obviously, with week 10. So they come off their bye. They'll host you week 15. Kansas City comes to town in week 16. This is an interesting one because they play the Broncos on Christmas 4 days later on Thursday. That late in the season, if somebody is 50-50, they're going to sit the Titans game and they're going to play Denver 4 days later on Christmas.
I agree. I agree.
We see it happen all the time.
What you want is for Kansas City to have some turmoil also as far as their win-losses go, where they got to play their guys.
Hopefully Taylor will have broken up with Travis by that point.
Oh, my gosh. We'll know. I know that. We'll know.
Turmoil.
We'll know.
We'll know. New Orleans comes to town week 17. They will have just played the Jets in New Orleans, and then in week 18 at Jacksonville. They finish with 3 division games in December. They play the Colts twice in December. Jacksonville does.
Do they?
So the Colts' annual loss in Jacksonville will happen in December this year.
I thought they did that anyway. You're right. Do you want that one flexed later in the evening? And if you're a fan,
I would love it because it means the Titans are in the mix to make the playoffs.
And that's a road
So flex it. Come on.
All right, for sure.
Flex zone.
Flex.
We know better. Not my best.
Okay,
615-737-1045. Wide open for your reaction. What is your take on the Titans' lack of primetime games? What you saw from the 2025 schedule? We'll start with Micah when we come back. Get to more of your phone calls as well. 615-737-1045. Here, Ramon and Will, 1045 The Zone. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Scooters Coffee, amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast, wide open for your reaction. What do you think of the new Titans schedule? 615-737-1045. We'll start with Micah in Nolensville first up. Hey, Micah.
Hey, guys. So I was going to talk some Titans, but Nashville SC deserves a shout-out.
Yes.
What a goal by Hani Mukhtar. I mean, that was a beautiful goal there. I went to the game. It was a great game. Tried to go to a handful. I'm confused how at the Nashville SC games, the stadium isn't filled. I mean, this is a fun team to watch. I mean, and that Red Bull team, that's a good Red Bull team. I mean, I just got Apple TV on my TV so I can listen to you guys while I watch the games whenever I can't go. I mean, this is a fun team to watch, and I don't know how that stadium isn't filled after every game. And by the way, Will, great job on the call yesterday. But, yeah, I don't know how the stadium isn't filled after every game. I mean, we got to do better at Nashville.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call, and glad you enjoyed the game. It was a fun one. Big win for the boys in gold last night. 2-1 against the New York Red Bulls.
Micah was all over it, man.
Mike and I had the same turnaround, leaving the stadium late last night and then being up early. He called us the second the show started.
Hey, Justin hit me in my ears. It's like, look at him just pulling at the strings on Will's heart right now.
A man after my own heart, Mike at Nolensville.
Yeah.
It was a good win for Nashville, though. 2-1 last night. Hani Mukhtar's goal is beautiful. The goal he scored to win that game in the second half. It was fun. Nashville is fourth in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
A little guy named Lionel Messi is behind them in the standings now.
By the way,
nobody hates over there in that building.
Savage brought this up in our chat, and he right. When the youth start calling you out, it's a problem. Micah's calling out the city for not showing up right there.
Yeah, I know it's exam time for a lot of people, people in school. It's a school night and all those things. But go out and see Nashville SC, man. It's fun. They are really, really fun. I'm not just saying that because I broadcast their games here on the station and I love the sport, but Nashville SC is really good this year, man. They're not just good. They're entertaining. It is a really fun style. Not that they weren't before, but it is a style that fits the city. Yeah. No doubt.
I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday. Did they press them as much as we thought they would? The Red Bulls
definitely pressed high.
Did.
Like it was back and forth. That's why my voice is a little. It needs a little bit more Scooters Coffee to wake up this morning. Yeah. It was kind of a breathless game, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Jeez.
Let's go to Cousin P up next. 615-737-1045. What's up, Cousin P?
What up, P?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Good morning. So, talking about the Titans schedule, on one hand, I'm disappointed, but on the other hand, it's almost expected. This is the second straight year that we've had, an away game to start the season, and now we have 2 away games to start the season, so that's very discouraging. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you got the number 1 overall pick. You got a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick, and I don't remember too many teams in the past having that situation to where they don't get the home game opener and then at least a primetime game to kind of see how the rookie's playing.
Yeah.
It's been disrespectful for Cam Ward from day one. This guy's been disrespected, and it continues. So I hope he looks at this and says, you know what? Jaden Daniels, who? Who is that guy? So that's what I'm hoping, guys, man. So we'll see. But, hey, tighten up always. I don't care, we play on whatever channel. I don't care if they put us on Cartoon Network. Let's just go play ball, guys.
It's Nickelodeon now. You making a road trip, P?
Hey, listen, I try to make one every year. I hadn't decided which one I'm going to go to. Okay. But the goal is definitely to see every NFL stadium, my bucket list.
Nice. So
we'll see.
San Fran's nice if you hadn't been. That's one I would go to. If
you got 7 options because you're not going to Cleveland in December. So I'm just kidding. Go to Cleveland in December if you want to.
It could be a good time. I like the cold perk.
Look at you advocating for the city of Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, man. Like I'm not going to trash them all the time. Like
I say that though jokingly, but there is a segment of this population of this fan base who prefers football weather. There are people out there. They are tougher than myself, who enjoy sitting out in that weather. I've done it. I did it for the Titans-Texans game a couple years ago as a fan. That was 0 degrees, and then Columbus last year, so I'm a little brave. But that is certainly going to be the biggest weather challenge this team faces.
Yeah, it is.
At that point.
Yeah, and when is the Jacksonville, Florida game?
Jacksonville is week 18 when you head down there.
That's easy living.
Won't be as warm.
There. Like I said, I think the biggest the biggest adjustment to the weather is going to be here in Nashville. One of the hottest games I ever played in was here in Nashville, Tennessee, dog. Like, I never forget, with the away tickets, they put us up at the top. I got my granddad in them tickets, man. I thought he was going to see the Lord. Okay? I know we had the conversation. I ain't lying to you.
Does that mean he's at the top of the 300 level?
Yes.
He's close up to the Lord?
Hell yeah, Will. Like, you think I'm joking? My granddaddy, man, Weary Dyson was like, grandson, listen, I love you, but I don't have to come here if this is what we sitting at every time. But I was wrong because I didn't know. I was young in the league. I didn't know you can do, like, handicap stuff. And, like, he walked up those steps. So, like, there was a lot that played into it. But granddad was on it like, hey, the devil, like, the good Lord was knocking up top.
You caught yourself
I
saying
did
devil.
because the sun was beating them down like hell was around them. But I'm telling you, the good Lord he saved them that day, man. Which is why I also say that's why I do think for the common game goer, patron, if we want to call them that.
Sure, right.
That's where the stadiums do come and play.
We joke and everything, but fans are awesome, man. For the different elements and the different things that you guys do to watch your football team, and I'm right there with you to watch the football team. We are certainly in agreement that a bad day at a football stadium is certainly better than a lot of good days in other places.
yeah, no doubt.
There's no doubt about it. So December 7th in Cleveland, that'll be the big weather challenge within all of this. You get a couple of warm weather games. In dome stadiums. Like, you don't have a road game in a super hot place other than Nashville, obviously. I mean, Houston, Arizona, and Vegas are all indoor.
Do you want that to be an advantage here in Nashville then? Thick humidity, 98 at kick.
Yeah, I don't know how much of an advantage it really is, to be honest with you.
It is.
You think so?
Heck yes. It is. I've especially like teams from the Northeast or from the West Coast, they not used to that humidity.
Yeah,
Trust
fair
me,
enough.
my teammates that weren't SEC players or that had been out of the SEC for a long time used to be miserable. Like,
I know we've talked about players, and I'm thinking of one specifically. I won't name names, but we're thinking of players kind of that we've talked about off air that you've heard of in the league, who later in their careers want to go play in certain weather. Like, I do think it's probably more of a factor than what people think. From what we've talked about, I think the weather part of it and guys choosing what climates they want to play in, especially as they get older, is more of a factor than people think it is.
I mean, look at the clips of Ted McMillan 2 weeks ago in Carolina.
Well, true.
You remember?
True.
Yeah, so.
California kid.
Oh, yeah. Not used to it.
Poly kid, yeah, for sure. 615-737-1045, open for more of your reaction to the new Titans schedule. We'll give you some headlines from the league on different schedules around the NFL, some quirks, including the one team that you are going to get sick of in the spotlight in NFL primetime games this upcoming season. That's next here on Ramon and Will.
It is 7:01 from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. Yesterday, the 2025 NFL schedule officially released, and we know the Tennessee Titans' full 17-game slate. Some notable takeaways. The Titans are one of 3 teams in the league that receive 0 primetime games, joining the Browns and Saints. The Titans will have a Week 10 bye week this year, and will also have a stretch of 4 consecutive home games from Week 9 to Week 13. In other NFL news, the Baltimore Ravens and running back Derrick Henry reached a 2-year, $30 million extension yesterday. It'll be $25 million guaranteed. Henry had 1,921 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns last season. And 8 times is the charm for Nashville SC as they beat the New York Red Bulls last night 2-1, thanks for goals from Patrick Yazbek and Hani Mukhtar. The win marked the first time Nashville has beaten the Red Bulls since being a part of the MLS back in 2020. And in the NBA, the Boston Celtics do stay alive, beating the New York Knicks 127-102, despite Jason Tatum's absence, but are still down in the series 3-2. But Steph Curry and the Warriors, they were eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, 121-110 in Game 5. The T-Wolves advance to the Western Conference Finals. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee, into hour number 2 on this Thursday morning. 615-737-1045, the number. Visit a locally owned Scooter's Coffee location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or about. Joy and amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. With 11-year NFL veteran, Vol Network color analyst, VFL, Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer.
That's me.
We stream the show live at 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. We began the show this morning with a show and station announcement that this is our show moving forward. This is mornings on 104.5 The Zone. Kayla Anderson, no longer a part of our team and our show. We wish her all the best. A great teammate, a great reporter and broadcaster who will land on her feet and will continue to do good things in this business. But this is us. And like we said earlier this morning, if you missed it, if you're just waking up to that news, Ramon and Will is not going anywhere. Ramon, this is not something where we're going to throw out the playbook of what we do in the relationship, both professionally and just off air, that we have had now for years. And we're going to build something I think the city of Nashville will enjoy here weekdays from 6 to 10.
No doubt about it. As I said before, man, I wish Kayla nothing but the best moving forward. I'm sure she's going to be fine. She's been in this industry for a very long time, and her reputation most definitely will definitely have her picked up at some point sooner than later, more than anything. So
Certainly.
Most definitely, it was fun working with her. It's one of those situations where it's always it's never easy. Like I've been around folks before where some of my good friends and got cut from teams and stuff like that, and that stuff is never easy. But what it always amounts to is, no matter if it's us, me, you, or somebody else, the show has to go on because we got a job to do as it pertains to 6 to 10 every single day.
That's right. So, again, like we mentioned, we made the initial announcement earlier this morning. No easy way to move on, no easy way to transition back to sports from that conversation. But that's exactly what we will do to start hour 2 here this morning. Ramon and Will is the show, not R and W, just Ramon and Will. Will be your show here starting this morning. Titans get a schedule. There is not a primetime game in it. The Titans do have the 4th easiest schedule in the league, according to ESPN.com. Last season, opponents had a .450 winning percentage in 2024. The consistency of a lot of noon games, 5 games that are 305 or 325, Ramon, valuable for a young team that is looking to get in a rhythm and looking to stay in the same routine week in and week out.
Yeah, it matters, man, catching that rhythm. And, of course, having a young rookie quarterback, too. That's important to him. I do view this situation a little bit, as we'll talk a little bit more about it at later times, but it seems to me that the NFL is just choosing to appease their money, the people that pour into the NFL, meaning this. I think it's 3 teams that did not get a primetime games. It was Saints, Titans, and I forget who else it was.
Cleveland, right?
Cleveland. which I'm shocked by that one. Cleveland's got
Yeah, I was a little surprised too, actually.
I did not see that Cleveland always get one or two, but it's neither here nor there. But what I've realized is this. One, I think is good for the young guys, specifically your quarterback, to catch a rhythm and figure out how to go. Like, he can do the same exact thing week in and week out at the same time, which is good for him on the small side of it. But the NFL side of it, to me, is the amount of money that YouTube is paying, Netflix is paying, Paramount, ESPN. They're not going to waste their time on a product that their buyers don't seem as probably that good right now. Now, you can do what I know we're about to talk about here in a second. Atlanta has done. Create a little mystique about you. Raise your profile a little bit more because, Will, how many games do the Atlanta Falcons have?
5.
On what time? Prime time.
5 games in prime time for the Atlanta Falcons. This makes no sense to me. So Atlanta was in prime time twice from 2021 to 2023. They now have 5 this season. The Michael Penix Jr. era is going to be well documented. It's going to be televised. The Penix Revolution will be nationally televised. So they go to Minnesota in week 2 on Sunday Night Football. They play Monday Night Football against Buffalo in Atlanta in week 6. Sunday Night Football in San Francisco in week 7. Thursday Night Football in Tampa, week 15. And then Monday Night Football in L.A. against the Rams in week 17.
Well, they kind of hosed them, though. Those 2 West Coast trips to play Sunday Night Football,
Yeah, right.
like that. I know they're on prime time and all of that, but like they somewhat hosed them with that one, man. All the way on the West Coast. That kind of sucks more than anything. But these matchups, to me, honestly, they don't make a whole lot of sense on how they got those, because I look at that Bills Falcons game. Like, what did they do? Like, the Falcons beat them, and historically over the years, no, that's not the case. It is, to me, I think it's the profile of the quarterback more than anything. It is Michael Penix showed you a little bit of what he could be. You got a head coach that's very defensive-minded with a team that's got a lot of good talent. And I'd also throw this in there, too, Bijan Robinson being a part of that. Kyle Pitts being a part of that also. So they got some young talent more than anything. I just didn't think they'd be thrown a bone like this. I don't know what their owner, off the blank, has against them or have on them.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the Falcons as having 5 primetime games at all.
So there is one element of this the Titans are about to benefit from.
What's that?
New stadium. I mean, that stadium isn't brand new, but it is one of the best venues in all of football.
Atlanta?
In the United States, yes.
And it's cheap.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium is terrific.
Yeah.
And that is one element that the Titans will have in their favor soon. To get more primetime games, it comes with the facility that you build. Teams want to, or broadcasts want to show it off.
Yeah, they do.
Part of it.
And I'm sure it's easier for those crews to come in and out of that stadium, because what I will say is this. Going to SoFi last year was my first time. I'm appreciative and thankful for Titans Radio for sure.
Yeah.
To be on that. But what I would tell you this, Will, they have an underground just city under that stadium.
I believe it.
To where buses go all the way under. Like, the operation of putting a broadcast on has to be one of the easiest in all of the NFL stadiums. I wonder, will this new Nissan Stadium have that? Like, it's its own city underneath the stadium. It's kind of cool to see. So I do think that's a bit of an advantage as opposed to all the wires and cranes over here.
615-737-1045. Again, we'll keep it a sports on the phones this morning and keep it to the Titans discussion as we begin with Gerardo in Amarillo this morning. Talk about the Titans schedule. What's up, Gerardo?
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So I'm stoked, man. This is the first time my family and my brothers and I get to finally go to the motherland and watch a game. We'll be able to catch Vrabel's coming back into town, so I'm excited just for that aspect of schedule release. But this is hindsight, bigger picture, I think this is the perfect schedule this year because, like you said, Will, consistency time-wise, perfect bye-week time frame, and then with the coaching staff going into the second year and with the young core they're trying to establish, I feel like kind of being under the radar is going to be what's best for them in the long run. And honestly, this ain't nothing different that Cam's not used to.
Mm-hmm.
0-star recruit going into a 0-star TV rating team. You know what, man? That's fine. Make the league flex you a primetime later on in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going. I mean, it's easy to complain as fans. We want the best for the team as far as national coverage and all this and that. But you know what? I say we earn that. Let's give the league a reason to give us that spot. You know what I mean? So I'm excited, man. It's regardless. It's like you said, supposedly the fourth easiest schedule this year. So
Yeah.
I think it's good, man. I'm excited, y'all.
Can I ask you? You chose the Patriots game for the hate.
I mean, yes. we just want to experience, Nashville in the fall.
Yeah.
With the kiddos not being too
Nice.
cold, not too hot. So, yeah, we're excited, man. We'll hopefully we get to meet you guys while we're up there.
For sure. Absolutely.
Would
We'll
love
go
that.
around. Appreciate that, Gerardo.
It's a good call.
That makes sense. That's a sold-out game.
Patriots game is going to be hot.
That's a sold-out game.
Hot in terms of the atmosphere in the stadium. Maybe not the weather, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, buddy.
Bam, next up, 615-737-1045. What's up, Bam?
Yo, what up, fellas?
Not much, man. Good morning.
How we doing?
Man, this goes out to the fans. We got to stop crying about primetime games, man. They don't even be showing up for games, man. Like, that's kind of one of them things where it's like, we got to hold ourselves accountable first. Then, what do you expect with a 3-14 record, fellas?
Yeah.
Like, what do you really expect? It's like, okay, I don't think Cam is worried about that. I think they're worried about showing up and proving what it is that we got to do as a team to be better. Like, you don't get rewarded for being bad. I mean, the reward was you got the number one pick. You know what I'm saying? So having these primetime games, man, I don't care nothing about that. I'm going to Denver. I'm going to Vegas. I'm going to San Fran. Like, show up for the team. Show up at home. And then complain about it later. You know, like, we got to put a better product out. So it's just kind of one of them things where it's like, I kind of like the schedule. I think this going to make a man out of Cam real quick. We're going to see if he him. Well, he is him. Yeah. We're just going to see how fast it all comes together. We're going to see how Callahan develops his team. It's just, I'm excited to see where it's going to go. I'm going to be there supporting him. But I'm not going to be one of them dudes that's complaining about prime time and don't even show up to either 104.5 events or the games or don't travel. Man, come on, man. We got to be better than that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Fair enough. Thank you, Bam.
Yep.
Appreciate the call. And I'll tell you what, Bam shows up to everything. That man is in the building, as Ron Slay would say. And so he has the ability to make that statement.
It's funny the places that he's going, though. Denver, San Francisco, Arizona. I wonder what's the trend in that.
West Coast, best coast, right?
Mile high, baby. Let's go.
Oh, gosh. Coming up, 615-737-1045. Titans Radio's head coach, Coach Dave McGinnis, talks Titans with us next.
We love being part of the moments that matter, which is why we're announcing employee pricing for everyone. You pay what we pay. Employee pricing at Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned, American made.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 104.5 The Zone, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. When the music plays like this, you know what's coming. Coach Dave McGinnis, Titans Radio's head coach, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Two Rivers Ford. We are joined by Coach Mack this morning here on the show. Mack, how are we doing? Good morning.
Well, good, Ramon. How you guys this morning?
We're good,
Matt.
We're good. We got a schedule. We have weeks. We have games. We have road trips that can be set. Mac, how excited are you to go back to the place that Rhett Bryan called yesterday, the house that Coach Mack built in Phoenix, Arizona, in Week 5 this season?
Yeah, well, it's always fun to go back there. I mean, I, of course, got great relationships with a lot of people. With all the years that I was there, and it's more fun to go back there and win. So I'm looking forward to that. But anytime you've got of course, I spent a lot of time in the NFC West at a couple of stops. Anytime you're traveling back that way, then you understand that that's a big part of the schedule. Anytime you're going back to the West, because it changes a little bit.
So, Coach Mack, what is the value of consistency for a young football team that won't have primetime games, that won't have the schedule disrupted? There's no mini-bye, but there's also no short turnarounds from a Thursday night or to a Thursday night from a Sunday game. How valuable is that, Mack, having consistency with the start times of all of these games?
It means everything, especially for a young football team, because, players are creatures of habits, and especially young players need to learn to develop habits as far as getting ready. I mean, that's the first thing I always looked at. Depending on Now I've been with all kind of different teams. The teams I was on early on in my career were very veteran-laden teams, and we played everywhere. We played everywhere from London to Göteborg, Sweden to Berlin. We were everywhere. It didn't matter. It was a veteran team. A young team, consistency is huge. I look at two things, as a coach, looking at when the schedule would come out. When is my open date? Because that helps me to get ready to set my schedule. I love the week 10. That is just about perfect. I mean, week 5 was too early last year. Once when I was the head coach of the Cardinals, we had the open date the first week of the season. How do you think that was? All right. So, but week 10, just about right. Mm-hmm. And then plus the consistency. Now you're going to have more 3:00 games because you are playing West Coast teams. The 3:00 game is still you can still get your schedule down. To me, that is very, very helpful with a young football team. It's extremely helpful.
Coach Mack with us this morning. Mack has also been put out there the preseason side of stuff, too, if I'm not mistaken. 2 away games, Mack. One, as a player, I always enjoyed that break because I felt like in training camp, if the first away game was away, then you got an early release from camp, Mack. But for the young guys, man, getting adjusted to the plane, is there a better time than have it early in the preseason for the away games?
Well, I think they've talked about, because I guess it's going to be Tampa, Atlanta, the 2 away games. This is the year that they have 2 away games on preseason. They've talked about practicing against both of those teams. They're at their place, so that will be interesting. But if you're going to do it, which I'm all for, I really like working against another team in the preseason, especially once they truncated the preseason from 4 to 3 games. I think that's a good plan. That's really not a problem during the preseason. Now once you get into the regular season, again, I've coached on the West Coast teams where we would play the most of the East Coast teams in the round robin of the schedule. I was never a fan of staying somewhere. When you went, that was hard. That was very, very hard. So anyway. Early in the preseason, Ramon, I think it's just fine.
Yeah. And you mentioned something too, Coach Mack. I was going to ask you about because the only other, down and back that you have to do with this Titans schedule is at Arizona, and then you come back potentially and go right back for the Vegas. To your point about not liking it, we never did stay on one coast or not, Coach Mack. But what goes into the decision making of if a team stays on the west side of the map, Coach Mack?
Well, first of all, Arizona's different because their time doesn't change. You know, they're one of the places in America where, you know, for daylight savings time, their time zone doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and really, that's not as big a deal as flying. You know, Arizona and Vegas aren't as big a deal as flying coast to coast. I mean, you're not a coast to coast shot. That's really, and especially, I mean, you've been on team charters all your life. I mean, it's not exactly like, you know, you're flying all jammed up in there together. I mean, it's a charter flight, and to me, you know, 3.5 hours, that's not a problem.
Coach Dave McGinnis with us, presented by Two Rivers Ford here on 104.5 The Zone. So, Mac, between November the 2nd and November the 30th, the Titans do not have a November road game. We were talking with Rhett Bryan this morning, Mac. It is just the second time in Tennessee Titans history that they have 4 straight home games. The only other time was 2015. Of course, Rhett Bryan already has that stat ready for us this morning with the paper still warm off the printer of the new schedule. Mac, how valuable is that, just the ability to get a little comfortable, get into a rhythm earlier in the season, but maybe go on a little bit of a run there as a lot of these rookies and young guys who are going to be asked to play big roles kind of get acclimated to the NFL?
Well, I mean, but see, that's all set with the fact that the Titans are one of 3 teams that have 3 road games in a row too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, the schedule, you know, it always all sets. But yeah, that's big. You know, being able to have at least 4 weeks. Of course, you've got the one bye in there. At least 4 weeks. You know, where you've got a home game. And again, let's go back to the original how we started this morning with routine. You can ask a guy right there that spent, you know, double-digit years trying to develop a routine in this business. It's huge for players. It really is, and it's important for coaches too, because you know one of the big things for a head coach and your staff is getting. Anytime you've got an altered schedule, you've got to, once you plan that out, you've got to get that to your players very, very quickly, because players want to know. Once the season starts, they want to know exactly what to expect. They're willing to accept most anything as long as you prepare them for what to expect. Now they know exactly what to expect. They can establish a routine, and that's extremely, extremely important. And again, I'll repeat myself, especially for a young, developing football team.
Coach Mack with us. So, Mack, switching gears just a little bit to the rookie minicamp process and to, you know, what the media saw, to what, you know, we've got out there in terms of clips of Cam Ward throwing with Titans receivers, both in his class and now the veterans in joining them over the course of this week. What stands out just watching him here in Nashville at that field level in a Titans uniform, albeit a practice uniform, and seeing the way he's throwing the football to some of these guys very, very, very early on in the process?
Yeah, well, as soon as the draft was over, I've been to every practice since, you know, and I've watched these guys. Now, look, they don't, you know, they're not in pads. I mean, and now they can't even have helmets on. But you ask me about his throwing. I mean, everything is advertised. If you've never seen it in person, the release is extremely, extremely quick. The spin on the ball is impressive. The ball comes out. It's accurate. I mean, that's something that you don't have to know anything about any of the other nuances that are going on. But you can tell that that ball comes out of there very quickly. And as I said, it's got a nice, tight spin on it. It's accurate. This time of year, and again, I'll send you guys. I sent it to Don and Slay yesterday. Just the exact rules, so everybody understands the exact rules that they are under from the CBA. Now, right now, they've got no pads on. They're on separate fields. They're not going offense against defense. But you asked me specifically about just watching him throw. It's impressive.
No doubt about it, Coach Mack. Also, another thing that this team is doing so far is they have the number one claim as far as the waiver wires go, Coach Mack, and they are taking advantage of it. They ended up claiming a linebacker, Mari Burney, and also linebacker Anthony Oji, the former Vanderbilt player here, Coach Mack. How big of a weapon can that be just on simply getting the first ones on the waiver wire, Coach?
Well, there's two things about this. First of all, I mean, you don't ever want to earn the first pick of the draft, but if you do, you got to take advantage of it, which they did. And that also, and you're very right, Ramon, it gives you the first spot on the claims for the first 3 weeks of the season.
Okay.
So any waiver that's put out there now, you put a claim in, you're the first one in line, because you understand, it goes in a descending order if two teams claim the same player. And so they're number one. So you've got to take advantage of it. And they are taking advantage of that, because what that allows you to do now is you get the claim in, you're going to get the player, you get to look at the player on the ground in your facility. You get to look at him in person rather than just evaluating off of tape, and then you make a decision where you want to keep him or not. You're going to see a constant chumming of this roster, especially early, and they're being very, very smart by taking advantage of that. That is something, again, as I say, you don't ever want to earn that, but if you do, you have to take full advantage of it, and they are.
They are. And Coach Mack, I feel like this year in general, man, they're making mature competitions. I mean, the offensive linemen that they brought in early this year are all veterans, been around, played a good bit. Coach Mack, you're looking at these linebackers that they signed, the wide receivers that they brought in. A coach wants to coach. Players want to compete and win, not be handed stuff. Coach Mack, how cool is it, or how eye-opening is it to see the way they're facilitating competition going into training camp with the guys they've brought in so far, even with the rookies being brought in? I mean, you got Chig and Josh Wiley right now that are going to have to fight off Gunnar Helm the way we see it right now, and he's just a rookie, Coach.
Well, let's go back to the draft. I mean, when we're sitting there, together for 2 nights, and then the third night, going when they were drafting, I mean, you and I were sitting right there together, and kind of nodding our head. And they're very intentional about what they're doing, and you can see a common thread running throughout the draft, and you can also see it in how they're working this talent acquisition period now. This is going to be a constant movement on this roster, and that's what you have to do when you're resetting, your roster. You have to be able to do that. They've been very deliberate, and they've been very intentional about it. And, I mean, you can kind of see the common thread that's running through it. And it's going to be extremely important, because there has to be spots earned on this football team. There's not going to be, any spots given, because you're trying to develop something. And the only way that you can develop players is have them compete. And that's what they're doing right now. So I'm enjoying watching it every day. I really am.
Coach Mack at Titans Radio with us. Coach Mack, getting to see Femi Oladejo in a Titans uniform as well. I know he spoke with the media about adding different things to his toolkit, and that ability just as a converted off-ball linebacker to learn more moves and more things that he can do against a tackle that he's matched up with. What jumped out about watching him down there at field level in person for the first time?
Well, he's got the physical skills to do it. I mean, he really does, and it's important. Look, anytime you're rushing the passer, just like anytime you're protecting the passer in the National Football League, the depth of study that these guys do on one another. Now, the other thing is you've got to have your base go-to that you use. I mean, what got you there is he's a speed to power guy, and he's a huge effort guy. And he's a high energy guy. I mean, you can see that immediately. I mean, I coached a guy for a lot of years that wore that number 53 previously, and he was a high energy dude. All right, this guy's high energy, but also what got him here. He moved from the 4th game of the season there at UCLA from behind the ball to on the edge, and the thing that got him noticed during the season and got him noticed during the Senior Bowl was the speed to power off the edge, and the immediate, the urgency that he played with. He will always have to keep that. But as he develops in this league and people start to study him that he goes against, he's going to have to develop a counter move. But he can never get away from what got him there. I mean, Dwight Freeney came out of Syracuse with a spin move. Yeah. He never left the spin move all the years that he was in this league. But he developed counters. That's what has to happen with this guy. But I'm very, very impressed with him, just watching him work right now. That's going to be a fun development to watch there, guys.
No doubt.
Mac, ESPN's Teron Davenport put out the other day about how polished Xavier Restrepo is. Just running routes, just the way he jumps to the front of the line, everything that he does. That's a guy that certainly knows what he's talking about. We talked to Kevin Dyson about that the other day, Mac, and he mentioned guys with that size and with that skill set have to be the most polished receivers oftentimes, especially in drills like that and on the practice field. As you watch Restrepo, what about him makes him so polished and makes him an interesting prospect for this team as an undrafted player?
Well, I mean, the thing that he'll have to work on. I mean, you cannot discount his production. I mean, his production, and now what he's going to have to develop in this league, just because of the speed of the league, of the people he's going to be going against. Speed is not his game. Separation is his game, and his ability to separate. The guy has got exceptional hand-eye coordination. Just watching him, I mean, it's always clean catches. The other thing that I always do, this is on the subject, but it's off the subject a little bit. When I go to all of these, things that they're doing right now, these off-season workouts. After practice, I always go over and park myself, at the jugs machine to see which guys are coming over to put extra work in. I mean, he's always one of the first ones over there. In fact, this whole group is, I mean, they're over there. Matt Thompson, the equipment guy, they got 4 jugs machines going at once, because they've got all of those guys over there want to work. But his hand-eye coordination is exceptional. And so once he gets used to the speed of this league, he's one of those guys that I'm sure that everywhere he's ever been, it's always going to be, too small, too this, too that. I think as this season unwinds, the preseason unwinds, he's going to be noticed because he makes himself noticed. He's an extremely, extremely hard worker, and he's very, very deliberate with what he's doing. There's not a whole lot of non-paying attention as far as just watching this guy work. He's very serious about this, and it's kind of fun to watch him work. But the thing that impresses me is his hand-eye coordination and how cleanly he catches the ball most all of the time.
I love it. Music to my ears and to a lot of Titans fans' ears, no doubt about it. Coach Dave McGinnis joining us this morning, breaking down the schedule, breaking down the rookie minicamp Thursdays here at 7:20 every single week here on the show. Pleasure as always, Mac. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Guys, always enjoy talking ball with you guys. See you.
All right. There's Coach Mac here with us this morning, breaking down the new Titans schedule. And I love that about Restrepo, the hand-eye coordination. Meaningful.
And that's such it's his disadvantages is height, right? Make the right-minded guy minimize those as much as you possibly can. And it seems to be that's what everybody says about him. The stuff that he had to go earn, he did, and he shows it often.
615-737-1045, open for your reaction to the new Titans schedule, to Schedule Rizzy, that you have been prescribed as a Titans fan. If you didn't see the schedule release video, was a good one as always. Coming up, there is one team that I think has a runaway hardest schedule in the league. We mentioned it yesterday. Now that it's on paper, yikes. But I'll tell you why there is one thing about the Detroit Lions schedule that is not good news about their quarterback playing this schedule. And that's coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Window Nation, man. Window Nation's semi-annual sale is back, so help your house keep cool this May by reaching out to Window Nation. That's some of the best out there doing it, the best. You can save money every single month on heating and cooling all year long. And again, now you can save big during the semi-annual sale. And you probably asking me, how big? Well, 6% off and a free exterior door when you get a whole house of windows, too. Plus, 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 2 full years. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, man, and over 45,000 5-star customer reviews, you can trust Window Nation for quality and service. So hurry. Sell in soon, so don't wait to schedule your free estimate at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned all around you here in Middle Tennessee, Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. At Scooters Coffee, you get amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. We stream the show live, 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Ramon Foster, Jared Goff is an inside cat.
What you mean?
He is not an outside cat.
Okay.
And that's bad news for the Detroit Lions this upcoming season. So Detroit has the second toughest strength of schedule in the NFL according to opponent win percentage last season. And that can be misleading. However, 5 primetime games. Detroit plays a lot more games outside this year than they did last year. So the Lions this season, their road games in Lambeau against the Packers, at Baltimore on Monday Night Football. I know a guy named Rupert Walsh who will probably want to be in the building for that one. In Cincinnati, Week 5, at Kansas City on Sunday Night Football, in Washington, in Philly on Sunday Night Football, in L.A. against the Rams, and at Minnesota on Christmas before going to Chicago in Week 18 to finish the season. That is a challenge for Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff, who had, I believe it was a 10% better completion percentage in indoor games versus outdoor games last season.
Yeah, the ball doesn't have many elements on it. The pellets
Correct.
don't get wet like that unless somebody's throwing up on the turf inside, but that's neither here nor there. To your point, though, too, is the time of the year he's going to be at these places and playing in these games. By Week 10 in Washington with the Commanders, that could get spicy for him with the elements. Same can be said about the Eagles, too. But not just that, man, playing the Bears that late in the season, which could be a deciding game for them that
cold
late.
One.
A cold one. And on top of this, with an offensive coordinator, head coach now in Chicago that knows him back and forth. His best success has been with Coach Johnson, Ben Johnson, right? And that's what he also have to fight. So there's a lot of factors that's going into this this Detroit Lions season to me. It is. Are they keeping the offense the same for the franchise quarterback as much as they possibly can? How does he adjust? What is the verbiage like for a guy like him? But you throw the outside elements in it, though, Will. Like, that is football, to be quite honest with you. Like, it's understood why Detroit is an inside stadium. Right downtown, and I mean, it gets cold as ever. The weather, you need that.
It's like a baseball team in Florida having to have a dome.
Exactly.
It's going to rain every day.
The Marlins, right? Exactly. So I get it, being part of it, but you're right, Will. The comfort of playing indoors is the elements remain the same.
So last season, 15 of Detroit's games were inside.
15?
That's what I'm saying.
17?
15 of the 18 they played, including the playoff game, were indoors.
Yeah.
Jared Goff has a 51.4 career QBR outdoors, a 61.7 QBR indoors. His touchdown to interception ratio, 1.9 outdoors. His touchdown to interception ratio indoors, 3.2.
Yeah.
They play outside 7 times this year. Granted, that's a little bit skewed because of the amount of indoor teams that he played earlier in his career, obviously as a Ram and some inside games at that point. But, I mean, I think that what skews that is with the Rams, he was at the L.A. Coliseum quite a bit. He was outside more when he wasn't as good. Mm-hmm. And when he got better, he started playing inside more because Detroit, half their games are inside. So not totally apples and oranges in a totally fair comparison, but it is a big adjustment for a team that played 15 games in a domed stadium last year that now plays outside a lot more this year.
And the other part of it, though, is I'll give them grace just a little bit, right, as far as this season goes, because they're a hot team with a big target on their back, too.
Sure.
Probably slated to win the NFC North between them and Minnesota just starting the season off.
I'd say they're the favorite. Yeah.
Here's the other part of it, though, the preparation for it, now that they know where they stand with the scheduling and when they're going to be playing these games. It's going to be fascinating to see how Coach Campbell, Dan Campbell, make them do training camp. Right? There's a lot of that that's going to have to go into play. Are they practicing outside throughout the course of the season, or are they going indoors to their dome and stuff like that? You can prepare for the season in situations like that, spring water on the footballs. When it's cold, you go outside on a light, non-padded day. You can get prepared for it, but nothing will, to your point, prepares you for the actual game.
Sure.
The way the elements feel. If it's raining, if it's cold. I mean, Philly at Sunday Night Football?
Tough.
That's a different place.
And that's the thing that now Detroit has to deal with is the target on their backs of being a contender while replacing both their offensive and defensive coordinators. That is much, much easier said than done.
And also for me, the bigger challenge too for them, and I know they got some good pieces there, but the curation of their young wide receivers like Jameson Williams, right? Like Antoine Randall ended up leaving with Ben Johnson too. And he was a huge part of his growth. We saw clips last year of Randall telling him to grow up. Like, how does that sustain moving forward? Dan Campbell, which has been a great tone setter and culture setter for Detroit,
right?
I think got a bigger test now because it's coupled with success.
No doubt. I'm with you. Titans yesterday making a roster move, being awarded linebacker Anthony Orji off of waivers, who was recently waived by the Saints. The Titans, again, first in the waiver claim order. They get him to make room. They waive former Vol Jabari Small. Orji, the Vanderbilt linebacker, initially joined the Saints as an undrafted free agent in 2023. Played in 16 games last year, Ramon. This is not an empty chair, as Mac would say. 2 starts. He played 82% of the Saints' special team snaps a season ago. Ranked second on the team with 6 special teams tackles. Also played 146 snaps on defense. Made his first start in Kansas City on October the 7th. And at the very least is a guy that could make this roster as a special teamer. And we saw the value of what that meant to the Titans when they didn't have that at the beginning of last season. Guys that were brought in to be special teams tacklers.
One portion of this offseason I don't think we've talked a lot about, and we did early when it happened, was the incorporation of Bones Fossil. I think a lot of these moves are for a coach like him who has a head coach mindset, but also understands the task of righting the wrongs of the last couple of years of special teams. I meant to ask Mac about him. I'll ask him next week about the noise that Coach Bones Fossil is making. More than anything, the intensity of the guys and their requirements to play for him, because he's one of those types of guys around the league.
Sure.
So I'm excited to see that. This, to me, again, you get a hometown guy in a sense. He's not from Tennessee, but played at Vanderbilt, that you can somewhat cheer on as it pertains to him trying to make this 53-man roster.
615-737-1045 if you want to give your reaction to the new Tennessee Titans schedule. At halftime of the show, there is one stretch that will define the Titans season this upcoming year, including perhaps the most important game in recent memory for the Tennessee Titans. Coming up next.
It is 8 a.m. from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The 2025 NFL schedule was released last night, and we know the Tennessee Titans' full 17-game slate. Some notable takeaways. The Titans are one of 3 teams in the league that receive 0 primetime games. The Titans do, however, have 5 afternoon slate of games, playing at Denver, at Arizona, at Las Vegas, at Indianapolis, and at San Francisco. The home opener, we do know, at week 2, as they host Matthew Stafford and the L.A. Rams. 8 times is the charm for Nashville SC as they beat the New York Red Bulls last night 2-1, thanks to goals from Patrick Yazbek and Hani Mukhtar. The win marked the first time Nashville has beaten the Red Bulls since becoming a part of the MLS in 2020. And in the NBA last night, the Boston Celtics find a way to stay alive, beating the New York Knicks 127-102 despite Jason Tatum's absence. But they are down in the series 3-2. But in other news, the Steph Curry and the Warriors-led team were eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves last night, 121-110. The T-Wolves now advance to the Western Conference Finals. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is the 104.5 The Zone.
Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee into hour number 3 in the second half of your Thursday morning. Alongside 11-year NFL veteran, Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster.
Yay.
I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer.
That's
the
me.
show is streamed live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. 615-737-1045 is the number. Show news to begin the morning, and we will reset this one more time for those of you who are joining us later today, maybe waking up or starting the workday a little bit later. We want to make sure that we certainly let people know what is going on, be as upfront and honest with you guys as we can be about the situation and about our show moving forward. But we began the show this morning by letting you know that Kayla Anderson is no longer on this show or a member of our team here at 104.5 The Zone. Decisions like this are never easy. Announcements like this are always challenging. Kayla's been a valuable member of this show and the station's work, both on and off the air, since she got here. We certainly wish her all the best moving forward. But we want to send a message to you all and to the city of Nashville and to our loyal listeners. And our listeners in the F&M Bank chat, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. This is the show. Ramon and Will, weekdays 6 to 10. You're not going to hear another voice. This is what you got. And we will continue to work every day to bring you guys the best show that we can. We will continue to do this show for you because this is your show. We hang out with you guys. We just happen to have microphones, and you guys have phones and tablets and smart devices to interact with us at the F&M Bank chat. But make no mistake, this is your show, and we certainly continue to put in as much effort as we can to make this as fun, as entertaining, as informative and fun for the 4 hours that we have with you every single morning. So again, we wish Kayla all the best, but this is us. Ramon Foster, Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
It is, no doubt, man. I said it earlier, man. Most definitely appreciate Kayla. Learned a lot about her and her professionalism and how she goes about doing stuff. So I'm more than sure she's going to be fine and wish her nothing but the best in her new endeavors, man. But as Will said, in all things, man, if there's a clock and people got to do a job, the show must go on. And that's just how I approach it. Like I said before, in my past careers, this has happened. Good friends get let go in the middle of the season, at the beginning of the training camp and the training camp, and you're not conditioned for it because it's never easy at all. It's just that the job has to get done, so we're going to do that and try to have fun and inform you guys.
Kayla's a pro. She will continue to do a great job, and we hope to continue to do a good job here with you all as well. So looking forward to the next phase, the new era of Ramon and Will, and in a lot of ways, there won't be really much else new. This is us. You guys know us. Ramon and I have worked together now since, pandemic? About 5 years now that we've been in the same building. So,
we have.
We will continue to bring you the best show that we know how to put on, and that is it.
That is it. That's the requirement more than anything.
That's the standard. Standard is the standard.
Don't start using my
as your old
slogans,
coach
man.
would say.
Yeah, best believe it, man. He's the one that conditioned me to be like this, man.
That's right. No doubt. Him and Coach Fulmer, right?
Yeah. Got to give a shout out to the big coach. I talked to him this past weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Call me about a VFL I have to tell you about a little bit later, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Every time his name pops up, Coach Fulmer's like, what the hell happened? But he's not coaching anymore, so I ain't got to go to his office. But, yeah, this is a little situation right there we'll speak about a little bit later.
So, again, we're not doing our jobs if we don't move on, if we don't transition. There is no perfect way to transition back to sports, back to the topics of the morning, but that is what is required of us. That's what we've got to do, so that's what we'll do. Right
Absolutely.
now, we got a new Titan schedule, Ramon Foster, and there is a stretch this season that is going to define the season. ESPN's Teron Davenport wrote about this at ESPN.com yesterday. Weeks 3 through 8. You got 3 games against AFC South opponents in those 5 weeks. You start by hosting Indy in Nissan Stadium September the 21st. You face the Texans in Houston the following week. 2 cross-country trips to Arizona and Las Vegas. And then Mike Vrabel comes back to Nashville. Tennessee then finishes that stretch. The Titans do when it travels to Indianapolis on October the 26th. This is the kind of stretch, Ramon. Mm-hmm. If you win a couple of those division games, if you hold your own against Mike Vrabel at home, you might have something. And you may have the ability to be a little dangerous, a little frisky, as we like to say in the AFC South. That's the stretch that'll define what the Tennessee Titans are, perhaps in 2025.
We are. I can't wait till we get deeper into this discussion as far as the detail of what this Titans team, look like in training camp. Who's healthy? Do you get Cushenberry back healthy the way you want him to? At least an update on him, right? Because here's the thing, too. There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm a part of this also by speaking of, the big bad Patriots coming into town, or this is a huge measuring stick for Coach Callahan and his team versus Vrabel and his team. But here's the other side, too. The Titans have made moves to make themselves better, too. For Milton Williams, I think of Kevin Zeitler, right? For the guys that they have on the other side of the ball for the Houston Texans, I hope he clears up his sacks and get a whole lot better. But you got Dan Moore to try to combat what Will Anderson is, sure. Right? You move J.C. Latham over to the right side. There's a lot that has to be figured out over the course. And I feel like the way we view this team was what they presented us with last year, because 3-14 is not a good place to jump off the next year. You have the number 1 overall pick, and you're trying to rebuild this thing back up. But I do think this team has done some stuff to combat those other teams. You went after protection for your quarterback because Houston gets after you. You went in the draft and got a bigger back to try to help yourself as far as having a bruiser. But also just a side of what we're getting to this week 3 through 8. A lot of division, a good bit of AFC side of ball, too. To your point of setting yourself up. What you want out of this entire situation, I think it starts more than just the players on this one. Because you do, Will, to your point, got to be conditioned and understand what you're getting yourselves into. Yeah. This is where Coach Callahan, Nick Holtz, Bones Fossils, Denard Wilson, those guys, and preparing them for this what do you want to call it, this obstacle course.
It's a season-defining stretch.
It is. I agree with you there. And then you throw in the first parts of this being 3 straight road games, too. Right. The prepper, a coaching, I guess, class has to be really good this year for those 3-4 guys on this team. I'll start there first before we go to the players, because I expect them to want to compete. Sure. It's a matter of how you get them ready for that stretch. And I'm with you. They got to get at least 2 of the 3 of those AFC side of things, Will, before the bye week.
So you get a couple of playoff teams the first 2 weeks of the season. It's trial by fire for Cam Ward and this offense with a lot of new faces and new pieces. To Denver on September the 7th, back at home against the Rams on September the 14th. The ability to steal one of those 2 against playoff teams from last season, and a young quarterback in Bo Nix, an older quarterback in Matthew Stafford. Another one of the themes of this, Ramon, is the quarterbacks that you're going to play on the schedule are solid.
Yeah, buddy.
They're very solid. That is the case for any team in the AFC, because the quarterback position is being played at a very high level right now, specifically in the AFC. And then you add Geno Smith into that with Vegas, who now comes over from the NFC. Who you play on Sunday, October the 12th in Vegas. But if you don't steal one of those first 2 games, obviously it's a 17-game season. Your season's never over in week 3. But that Colts game at home on September the 21st gives you a line in the sand to draw.
It does.
Is this a season that is going to be about growth, about maturation, about rebuilding? Because starting 0-3 would certainly change the mood and the vibe around this franchise and around this team. Again, teams have come back from worse. Teams have still had the arrow pointing up, as our good friend Mike Keith says, but by the end of the season, for the better sake of the franchise moving forward. But the Colts game, September the 21st, it's your first division game. It's your second home game. It's early in the season. I like that it's going to be against Anthony Richardson, most likely at quarterback. Now, granted, Titans could beat the Colts last year, no matter who the quarterback was. It didn't matter. And so you got to live with that. But I think you hope that that is a statement of intent to the rest of the division that, look, we might be rebuilding. We might be building this thing for the future in draft and develop and all these things. However, we still got a part to play in 2025. And you could send that statement with a win in one of those first three games at least, and against the Colts on September the 21st.
You could. And more than anything, you get an opportunity if you can get – if you go 1-2 or 2-1 in those first three games, you get a real opportunity to bury Indy early, because I feel like that's what they did to the Titans a little bit of last year too. Was they put you behind the 8-ball, and what you don't want to do, and I'll even throw Houston in week 4, going to Houston. It really makes the AFC South a little bit more interesting if you're in a position to where you can say, yeah, we're one up on the division at this point in time. I'm telling you, it means a lot, man, to beat and bury them in the early parts of the season. And the best part of it is, too, like you said, with the idea of it being against good quarterbacks, or what we perceive to be Bo Nix. Of course, Matthew Stafford speaks for himself. He's a $50 million man at this point, right? A year. But you get an opportunity to see Cam potentially grow in that point, too. I think that is the biggest conversation behind it all, to be quite honest with you, is will Coach Callahan, Nick Holtz, put Cam Ward in a gunslinging match between those guys?
Go toe-to-toe with them.
And it may be necessary, because if this run defense gets a little bit better, because it seems to be a little bit of that emphasis for the Titans, they're going to sling it around. And if that's the case, can your secondary hold up? And then the backside of that, teams work in cohesion with one another. The offense ought to go out there and answer, and it may come through the shoulders of Cam Ward.
Quarterbacks you'll play this season, of course, you start with Bo Nix, Matthew Stafford, obviously in the division, Trevor Lawrence a couple of times, C.J. Stroud a couple of times, the duo of Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones a couple of times, Kyler Murray in Arizona on October 5th, Geno Smith in Vegas, October 12th. Fascinating team this year, I think, the Raiders. With some good young players, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, Jack Besh. I say that longingly. I wish he was a Titan. Drake May, October the 19th. Justin Herbert, November 2nd. Coming off a season where Justin Herbert only threw 3 interceptions last season.
I didn't realize that.
3 interceptions. He didn't have a good playoff game, but 3 interceptions last season for an upstart Chargers team. Sam Darnold in Seattle, coming to town November 23rd. Whoever the heck is quarterback in Cleveland on December the 7th, your guess is as good as mine. Could be Joe Flacco, could be Dylan Gabriel, could be Shedeur Sanders. Brock Purdy, week 15, Patrick Mahomes, week 16, and then most likely Tyler Shuck in week 17 before you play Trevor Lawrence again in Jacksonville, week 18.
The later part of the season could be good for you.
You got 4 straight home games, which, again, Rhett Bryan tells us is the first time that has happened for the Titans since 2015, with a bye week right in the middle of it.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. The flow of that, to be quite honest with you, you got a month at home. Like, you get so much. One, you settle the family life, and that matters a little bit more, too.
Sure.
You can be present, be around. You got to be out of town the entire time. But that's also, to me, good or bad.
Can I was
going to say real quick, you can make Nissan Stadium toxic as hell as a fan base.
Sure.
So.
I do want to thank the Titans of the NFL for throwing Ron Slay a bone.
What happened?
Not only do the Titans have a bye week in Week 10 on the weekend of November the 9th, so do the Vols.
Take it.
It's the beginning of basketball season.
Is it?
College basketball starts November the 9th Thank you to the Tennessee Titans for just allowing college basketball in the city of Nashville to breathe a little bit. Titans have always got together and say, you know what? Vanderbilt's on the rise basketball-wise. We got great basketball in this city. Belmont and Lipscomb, terrific last season. Tennessee State making their way forward. The Vols, obviously, back in the Elite Eight last year. Memphis is also in the state of Tennessee. Let's just give basketball a moment to breathe. The second weekend in November, that's exactly what will happen when the basketball season begins. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Great work. Great work. So Vols and Titans sharing a bye week the second weekend in November.
Real quick, man. I just clicked on the chat real quick, man. We got a guy. I wanna answer from him, man. Williams is like another 3-14 season. Why?
Dang.
Call in. I want to know why, or put it back in the chat. I want to.
We can't be thinking 3-14 in May.
I don't even want to play like I thought about, hey, let's do the win-losses. Nah, let's not do the win-losses this early. I want to know why you're more pessimistic about this approach to this season. If you're a fan of the Tennessee Titans. Or if you just want to hate on the Titans at this point. So you know the numbers. 615-737-1045.
Look at you out here being a broadcast professional.
I got to at some point.
Broadcast entertainer.
At some point. But what I'm saying is I want to know why the projection of 3-14.
Yeah, that's
if you're a Titans fan.
It's not great.
Yeah, it's not great, Bob. Get out of
I
here.
prefer. I don't like living my life predicting 3-14 in May.
Yeah.
Maybe in October, but not in May.
Yeah, I kind of want.
And I'm not doing that this year either. I think this team's better. Than
like I said, William is not a fan.
615-737-1045 is our number. So the Titans don't have any primetime games this year. What will it take for the Titans to earn more national respect? That's next. Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Alongside 11-year NFL vet, Vol Network analyst Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling. 615-737-1045 is the number. So, we got a Titan schedule.
Yeah.
We don't have any primetime games.
Nope.
Lights will not be turned on for the Titans in Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, or Monday Night Football to begin the season. So a reminder of how this works. There is flexible scheduling for Sunday Night Football, which can be used up to 2 times between weeks 5 through 10, and then the NFL's discretion from weeks 11 through 17. For Monday Night Football, it is at the NFL's discretion in weeks 12 through 17. And for Thursday Night Football, it may be used twice, weeks 13 through 17. So in these flex scheduling windows, the games initially scheduled for Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, and Thursday Night Football are tentatively scheduled and subject to change. That being said, Ramon Foster, no primetime games at the beginning. How surprised were you seeing that yesterday when the schedule came out?
I was a little surprised because, if I'm not mistaken, last year, I should have pulled it up on break right here, but the Chicago Bears, I felt like, and I know they're a bigger market. I do know there's a lot of that going on as it pertains to why Chicago, I feel like, got more primetime games last year with Caleb Williams being the guy, but I did expect the number 1 overall pick, being a quarterback, coming to the Tennessee Titans. I thought that would be in a position that they would in some capacity, man. So I thought 2, but I was totally wrong on that one. Buck had his over-under set at 1.5, and he was 100% correct. I should have went the under. I told him I'm going over on that one. So I was wrong, Will. But I'm
with you.
We're about to talk about it in a sense, but I will say this. You get what you deserve in the NFL a lot of the times. That's from players in free agency. That's coaches getting hired or fired. And that's also the way they choose to set up their production as a league.
No doubt. It is.
I'm efforting that right now. Well, give me one.
What are you
efforting? The Chicago Bears schedule last year. I feel like Caleb Williams had a couple of primetime games starting off last year.
They did.
So.
They definitely did. It'll be a little hard to find, I guess, the start time of it.
Start time. Give me 1 second.
After the fact. But they did have 2 Thursday games. I know that.
They did have 2 Thursdays.
Including Thanksgiving in Detroit, because that was the end of the Matt Eberflus era last season. So they had multiple primetime games last season. Fairly or unfairly, Caleb Williams more of a national face and product than Cam Ward is.
You think so?
Yeah. And Chicago's a major market team.
I mean, this is Miami versus USC in the sense of like reputation and whatnot.
Right. But it's also, I mean, it's only 1 year of Miami, though.
Yeah. Okay.
And Caleb Williams is a Heisman Trophy winner, played for Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma, and USC. And Chicago is one of the originals.
One of the originals.
In the NFL. It is a major, major, major market with a fan base all over.
You know when they got their first primetime game last year?
When's that?
Week 2. Houston Texans. They paired them up against C.J. Stroud.
Right. That's right.
That's one right there. And we can continue to talk through it as I scan real quick. But they had a week 2 early in the season, 425. I'm looking at it real quick. We go through it. But that's what I at least thought Cam Ward would get. They had Minnesota. Week 15, 7:15 was another one. Then they also had Seattle at a 7:15 time slot also. So that was my expectation. I do believe the league do create pathways for its stars, its young stars especially. So number 1 overall in Tennessee, I think it hits a little bit different than it did for Chicago. But to your point, that's one of the originals.
Well, and 2, the Bears were coming off a 7-10 season, not a 3-14 season.
Yes. Okay.
The Bears in 2023 won 3 out of their last 5 games and 2 out of their last 3, and there was real optimism that Chicago was going to be a dangerous team in the NFC North.
I did think they made a lot of moves, too.
Despite the fact that the Titans do have a new quarterback and do have a lot of new pieces that give you some optimism, there's not the same level of optimism about this team as there was about Chicago. I think the better example of what the Titans are up against is what Washington was up against this time last year. A rookie quarterback seen as a dynamic playmaker coming into a roster that needs refreshing and needs rebuilding. Now, that rookie quarterback was so good, it didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
And the Commanders were able to get some primetime games at the back end of it. That's the opportunity you still have as the Titans this season. Just because there are no primetime games at the beginning of this doesn't mean that there will be no primetime games at all. But, Ramon, I want to ask you this, because we've talked about this a lot off air for years, in fact. And we've talked about this when the Titans were at the top of their game, coming off an AFC Championship appearance, coming off a 1 seed, when we were all told that the Titans were the worst 1 seed ever. I remember that conversation happening on this radio station from national people like, according to the numbers, you guys aren't anything. And unfortunately, the Titans followed that up with a loss to Cincinnati.
Didn't help.
Behind 3 Ryan Tannehill interceptions. What will it take for the Titans to earn more national respect and attention? And it's one thing to care about it. I know many of you don't care, but some of you do. And regardless of if you care or don't care, that's not the conversation. I want to ask, what's it going to take to get it, even if you're not really concerned about it?
I'll just start up front. More stars. Right there. I was looking at, I think it was Jordan Schultz put out a tweet about Cam Ward.
He did.
He did. And it was, I joked about it. I was just like, it was a sympathy tweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a national guy who's putting eyes on Cam Ward. I'll let you read it out if you found it first. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So Jordan Schultz, Fox Sports yesterday says, I think I speak for most NFL fans when I say I'm genuinely excited about Titans quarterback and #1 overall pick, Cam Ward. Leaving him off the entire primetime schedule feels like a missed opportunity to showcase a potential star. Got to give Tennessee at least one.
So there we go. He threw the word in there. I wanted to get to potential star. I looked at, just because I like to see the comments from time to time, right? I looked at the some of the comments in there from other fan bases, and other fans were saying, "So what? Like they don't have any stars on their team." It was like, besides, like it was an account that was in there that said, besides Cam Ward, who do they have? Disrespectful as hell, right? But that is somebody outside of this market that's not an AFC South fan, I'm sure, that's looking at this team and saying, well, why do I want to watch them? Sure. And I say that to say this. Stars are made every year in this league, and I think this fan base in general is probably waiting on Cam Ward to help create some. If the offense gets cooking the way you want it to, then the defense gets more highlights, because guess what? Guys like Jeff, guys like maybe even an Arden Key or somebody else can become Tavondre Sweat, can become a bigger name because they're more rested, because they're on the sideline more than they are on the field defending. I think it starts with the stars first more than anything. Say what you want to about Atlanta. Atlanta's Atlanta, but Atlanta's a major city. But Michael Penix Jr. has a name. He upseated a guy that was in front of him as it pertains to how he got the job, right? You got Bijan Robinson a part of that. Kyle Pitts that's a part of it.
Sure.
It's probably not many fans across the NFL world that can tell you more than maybe 1 or 2 guys on this squad. Right. And I say that with a lot of respect, okay? Not that I'm dogging on the Titans, but I think that plays a part in it. How can we highlight you if the one entity that you have is just publicly Cam? We know what Jeff is. We know what Calvin Ridley can turn into, right? You look at Tony Pollard in a sense, Dallas.
Right.
But he's more known for that than he is known for here. So that's why I think the identity of the Titans was so big on Derrick Henry.
Right.
It's because that's what the national networks had to hang on. Win-losses, I don't think even matter as much.
I agree.
It does.
It's a part of it, but it's not the whole reason to get national attention.
So that's where it does come down to the players. What are you doing to be a better pro?
So I think there's 3 aspects of this that matter. And going back over the past couple of seasons, the Titans have had 1 or 2 of these. They've not had all 3. Because at the height of their powers, to the point that was made at the F and Big Chat, wins and losses earned you respect. I don't even think that's true. I think there's more to it than just wins and losses, because the Titans had wins with Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Mike Vrabel. They never had the national respect that the Titans were a consistent contender, because the ceiling was limited with what you had in Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Your star was a running back. Your star was a guy that got hot in December and got hot in playoff time. And that's great. But even to that point, a lot of the narrative around the Titans was, yeah, but it's Ryan Tannehill. And that's not fair to Ryan Tannehill, by the way. Perception is not always reality. Ryan Tannehill at his best was a top 10 quarterback in this league. Ryan Tannehill, I will still argue to my grave, Ramon, was good enough to win you a Super Bowl if the stars align. They just didn't. The Titans did not strike enough while the iron was hot. It is what it is. It sometimes falls that way The window closed, then you moved on as he declined and the pieces around him declined also as you couldn't pay everybody. But I still think the Titans could have won a Super Bowl if they had correctly surrounded Ryan Tannehill with pieces as that franchise tried to reload and reset. So that's the first part of it. The second part of it is, how entertaining are you to the neutral observer? Titans were not entertaining to watch.
Social media, they were.
As a ground and pound defensive run the football team.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that's not fair either, because it's not the Titans' job to just be entertaining. Titans have that motto over there: win, serve, entertain. Winning is the number one priority. If the Titans have to run the wing tee based on the talent they have to win, they'll do it, and they should. I will never criticize them for that. However, when you talk about national attention, if you are entertaining for the neutral observer to watch, you're throwing sideways passes. You're running hook and laterals like the Kansas City Chiefs, who have got 8 standalone games this upcoming season. That matters to networks. That matters for marketability. It matters for national attention. The third part of it, which you are about to be guaranteed to have, is a stadium/spectacle off the field. And that is where I look at teams like the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas Raiders haven't been very good. They're on primetime because Allegiant Stadium looks sick. It's a Roomba in the middle of the desert that seats 70,000 people with a freaking like fake flame in the end zone. You want to look at the crowd shots. Like, I'm more encouraged to watch a game, maybe 5-10% more encouraged to watch a game if I want to see what that stadium looks like in primetime. Yeah. SoFi, like the Chargers have been bad for years. They get primetime games because they're playing in a freaking like spaceship.
To be fair,
in SoFi Stadium.
They got names too.
They do. 100%. They got a couple of those things. However, like, those are the 3 factors. And the Titans, I think, are putting themselves in the position to maybe have all 3. You hope that Cam Ward is the star quarterback that gives you a Super Bowl ceiling that comes with national attention. You hope that you are going to be more entertaining to watch for the neutral observer because you got an offensive head coach. You're adding more weapons. You want to be a more dynamic offense. And thirdly, you're about to have one of the best stadiums in the league. So if these stars align, yes, I think you will have the opportunity to earn national attention, because it's not just the market size. Like, Kansas City has all these things. They got a great atmosphere. They're fun to watch, and they've got a star in Patrick Mahomes. Boom, boom, boom. That gives you 8 standalone games.
I know we're loaded with calls real quick, but I think Nadro in the chat made a point too that we're looking over. It's like Raiders have an enormous fan base. The Titans fan base is growing, right? I do think that the ratings matter a good bit when you look at how you're displayed on TV, who's tuning in to watch. Like you said, more than anything, the best one of the best points you made was, does the casual fan want to sit down and watch the Tennessee Titans by either making it exciting, the stars they have, or the upsets that you can potentially have as a team?
Let's go to the phones. 615-737-1045. Marcus is in Nashville first up. Hey, Marcus.
What up, Marcus?
What's going down, y'all? How y'all doing today?
We're great.
I've been listening to y'all all morning. And, hey, listen, I'm a Titan fan to the heart. And I'm going to stop being the bad guy in the situation. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I think we can win 10. And the only way you're going to set the haters up, you got to prove to them. Yeah. Last year, we talked at the same time, when Levis was doing so bad, everybody else was talking bad about us, but we were talking bad about us. Yeah. So maybe that was part of it. How last year when we was going downhill, when Levis was doing his Olays and everything, it was just a bad look for us all, because we didn't even believe in our own team. So now we're asking, us to give us a primetime game. They're looking like, dang, the fan base didn't even believe in their team. So now I think we just got to prove ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I've been studying Cam Ward, and it's not just about what he do on the field, it's what he do off the field. And I always look at it like God's going to bless somebody, always throwing out blessings. And he had that mansion built for the homeless and all that. I look at that big stuff like that, man, that means a lot. So I'm saying we're going to win 10 to 11 games, and we're going to shut these haters up. Mm-hmm. Tighten up, baby.
All right, thank you, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
Optimistic.
What jumped out there?
Optimistic. Sure, you can be optimistic. That's fine.
Marcus jumped out.
I'm not mad about it. I'm not going to predict it myself, but I can see a pathway to that happening. A lot of things got to happen. A lot of stars got to align, but it's the NFL, man. There's a lot of range of how good and how bad a team could be any given season.
10 wins would be, man.
You're probably in the playoffs at that point.
No, for real.
It's too early for us to do win predictions in May, but
I don't want to. I don't right now. I'm going to be real with you. I'm usually into that game.
That shows you where Titans fans are at. We've had a 3-14 prediction and now a 10-7 prediction. I'm somewhere in the middle. 615-737-1045. I'll get back to your phone calls wide open. We'll go rapid fire on the phones when we come back. Mike in Cleveland, Nick in Nolansville. You guys will lead us off. If you're on the line with us, hang on. We'll get to you as we wrap up hour 3 coming up next.
Two Rivers Ford announces employee pricing for everyone. Every tradesman, every dad, every rising star. You pay what we pay. Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned. American made.
Ramona Will, the 104.5 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. We'll shift gears to college football in the fourth hour. Our SEC Spring Series will continue. Going to talk some LSU football this morning with Bryce Kuhn of LSU 247. Looking forward to that coming up at 9:20. Your phone calls in the meantime, 615-737-1045, talking about the new Titans schedule. We begin with Mike in Cleveland first up. Hey, Mike.
What up, Mike?
There he is. Outstanding. Outstanding. You may begin now.
Hey, all right, since I can begin, Will, have you listened to my new song yet, bro?
You know what? I've got a flight today. I'm traveling this weekend. I will go ahead and download it so I can get it on the plane today. I'll give you my full thoughts.
Free shout out, Will. It's a dope track. I'm going to be real with you.
It got the Ron Slay seal of approval, so it's got to be good. You didn't just hand those out.
I would tell him if it was trash. I'm going to be real. I hate trash music, man. I would tell you, Mike, if it was bad. It was good.
I'm gonna fill everybody in. I've been sending Ramon my music for a minute, so he's the seal of approval. So if you don't like it, blame Ramon.
Perfect. Go download it. It's on iTunes.
All right, now let's get into it. Hey, I'm gonna tell you straight up, Bam, he been calling me a heel this whole off season because I've been pessimistic. Whatever I say, I'm dealing in reality, baby. We done seen this story before from our franchise. I love the Titans. I ain't a jersey guy. I'm a hat guy. Most of the time, I'm about 4 or 5 hats in. I ain't got one hat yet because I hear you on Cam. I'm excited for him. But I've been saying it this whole time, man, what Callahan gonna do? Because we done seen this storyline, man. We done seen the young rookie quarterback playmaker come in. He could be great. He could be everything we've been needing for a long time. And then what happens? We try to fit that square peg in a round hole. So I'm trying to see if Callahan gonna go out here and actually adapt and make an offense to go and let this young man be great. Until I see that, man, I'm sitting on the sidelines like Uncle Eddie in Major League, and I need them to play wild thing, for me to get up and scream. That's where I'm at with it.
No doubt.
That's all I got. Yeah, Will, download all my music, bro. If you don't like one of them, then check out the next one. And everybody else do the same.
My boy.
I love it. Mike in Cleveland.
Mike in Cleveland.
One of our favorites.
Get him up out of there. But he's doing well in Cleveland, so we'll leave him alone.
Fair enough. He'll see the Titans December 7th.
Yeah.
Bring a park. He makes a valid point, though. I don't blame any Titans fan for being wait and see, considering the quarterbacks that have come through and not made it. I think there's different avenues for fans to digest all of it. If you want to be like Marcus, you want to be optimistic and say 10-7, great. If you want to be wait and see, be pessimistic and see exactly what Cam Ward does under Brian Callahan, I get both sides of it. I'm not here to tell you how to be a fan.
Yeah. I'm proud of Marcus for dropping 10 wins. Marcus was a little bit on the other side for a while.
He's over there with Mike.
He was over there with Mike. It looked like he broke his hand away from him now. But Mike, though, I mean, to your point, I think that's one of the bigger conversations over the course of training camp and going into the season is Callahan's adjustment.
Absolutely. No doubt. And Teron Davenport wrote about it the other day based off of Callahan's comments over the weekend that they're going to bring elements of Miami's offense into this offense. If that works, talk about being entertaining for the neutral observer or for just the neutral NFL fan, this will be a fun and dynamic offense if that clicks. If you look like Miami did last year, not bad.
Not bad at all.
It's fun potential. Nick in Nolansville is up next. Hey, Nick.
Good morning, fellas. How y'all doing?
Good morning, Nick.
Hey, man. So me and my wife, we were blessed to be able to go to that first Pro Bowl that came back to Orlando. The Titan sent us there, and they had a whole bunch of different Q&As, and in one of them, the CIF himself was there. So Commissioner Goodell, I actually got to ask him, what were the factors in getting us more primetime games then. And I think the 3 big ones that he said was, one was schedule fit, storyline, and then star power. And then if you think about it, I mean, honestly, we haven't had star power in a very long time. So I think that that has kind of affected us in a negative way. So I'll hang up and listen to y'all.
Yeah, I
Appreciate
agree.
it, Nick.
The one that I thought the Titans had going for itself this year was the storyline of the number one overall quarterback. I did think that would play a part in it.
Agreed.
Star power, definitely.
Right.
And the scheduling of it. I'm not sure what the issues are as far as setting it up or who else had a better, matchup, but I thought at least storyline would get you one.
I thought so too, honestly. I was a little surprised, certainly not shocked. I've grown used to it, to be honest with you, on this team not getting the national attention. It doesn't bother me. And again, I've talked about it a lot, that I've grown up listening to this show and listening to this station forever, that I get my Titan stuff from the Zone, like so many of you do who are listening to the sound of our voice right now. But I'm used to it at this point.
That's a deep, long conversation right there. And I don't want to feel like we're in a therapy session for Titans fans, but most people have settled into that. Like in the chat, it's been the same conversation. On Twitter becomes the same conversation. Right. I don't know if any of our teammates here are going to do a prediction, right? I know Buck them do polls and stuff. But like, what are you thinking? 3 to 5 wins, 6 to 8, 10 to 12? Like, most people are probably going to pick that first option.
Well, and two, this roster isn't even set yet.
Well,
there's still so many more moves this team could make that can change the range of what the floor and the ceiling is. And again, it to me feels significant how much they are using the number one spot in the waiver order to bring in veterans who are on other teams right now, and guys like Anthony Orji, who comes in from the Saints as a special teams guy. Like that's not a piece that totally changes your floor or your ceiling, but the roster is far from set yet.
Real quick, and I know we're about to be up against it, but like the question, we're talking about this primetime thing, scheduling and stuff like that, and he's a good friend of the chat and of us too, but Lonzo Rice, and who cares about the national attention? Stop.
A lot of people do.
It means
just because you don't doesn't mean that other Titans fans don't.
Not even just that. Everybody loves recognition and validation. Everybody loves being the subject of the water cooler, right? Talk. Everybody loves throwing on their uniform, their jerseys, because for a while, I didn't know what a Kansas City Chief was as a fan. But you see them walking and you get annoyed now. And it's because you see them so often.
Yeah,
there's pride in that.
I think you make a good point, but at the same time, I do think for people that are used to this franchise and to the attention that we get, we were not raised as NFL fans who really care all that much. Like, I'll be honest with you, I really don't care about the national attention because when the Titans get talked about on First Take or ESPN or NFL Network, I learn less. I learn nothing. I learn about this team, and I get insight from this team by following people who have boots on the ground every day, who talk about it every day, like Buck after us, like Teron Davenport at ESPN, like, John Glennon, Teresa Walker, like the people you hear on this show. Like, I care way more about their perspective on this team than what Stephen A. Smith has to say, respectfully.
That's true, but I'll say this. On the player side of it, when I saw Chris Berman come in, when I saw Scooter come in, Booger come in, when I saw Stephen A. walk into the facility and Joe Cena and so many others, Gruden walk in, like as a player, you like, hell yeah.
For sure. And I totally get that. As a player, I get it. As a fan growing up in this market, many of us were raised not to care.
And so tune in to 104.5 The Zone. For sure, 100%.
For sure.
But
100%. I'm not talking about the player's perspective.
no
the
doubt,
player's perspective, I get it. The lights turn on, it feels a little bit different.
I want it for them and others that seek that type of attention because you made it to the 1%, and next thing you know, you never seen like that.
Right.
And you might be a hell of a player. But how are we going to see your talents if you don't get an opportunity on the big stages?
The way I feel about it is it's nice to have the attention when you have it, but I don't lose sleep when I don't have it. That's where I'm at with it.
I'm with it.
Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think you have to earn it. This team doesn't earn it. They have not garnered the attention that you want or that fans want. They don't have the history like Kansas City or like Pittsburgh. They haven't earned it.
I agree with that. The only pushback I have is they kind of did earn it in the peak of Ryan Tannehill, Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry, and they didn't really get a lot of national attention or respect then either.
Early.
But with the Titans franchise being in the state that it is, you have to continue the consistency.
Yeah, you do.
And that's where it's at. You can have it for a year, and then the next year when it's down, you're out.
If you're a mid-market team, you have to have a superstar. And this team's superstar was a running back, and there's not a lot of national respect for running backs in the NFL.
I'd feel that way if Houston wasn't getting it. If I was a Titans fan.
Houston's a bigger market.
Same division.
How did it matter?
Same division, though. Like, they revamped themselves with CJ and winning and coaching.
Yeah, it helps.
That's the only point I'm making. Like,
Houston's
on the
one of
same
the biggest
timeline,
markets in the country.
but they're on the same timeline as the Titans as far as franchises, right?
That's true. Yeah, for sure. 615-737-1045. If you want to give us your take, more NFL headlines when we come back. Again, Bryce Kuhn of LSU 247 going to join us at 9:20 as we continue our SEC Spring Football Series. Fourth and final hour of your Thursday morning on Ramon and Will is next.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Good people, they have my seal of approval on this deal that could help change your life. Right now, they're giving you 47% off non-surgical spinal decompression. It's a big 47 off for all of 2025, man. And here's the thing, too. What I'm going to tell you is very important to your health and your well-being, and you probably need to reach out to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley will not give up on you. They simply want to make you better. So whether you have back pain, neck pain, knee pain, I've had a little bit of all of them, and guess what? They have helped me out with it. Quick testimony, man. About a couple weeks ago, I felt this clicking in my nails. I'm walking up and down steps, and I said, you know what? I got to get to the Wellness Institute. I go there, and I'm fine. It's one of those situations where they don't want to just service you and you continue to come back. No, they want you healthy and so that you don't come back to them until you absolutely need to. And more times than not, there's no overcorrection with it. Again, no more sleepless nights. Say goodbye to the disc bulges, herniations, spinal stenosis, all those types of things. You can start your life off with a pain-free life, and it is possible. Reaching out to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Call them at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you having some home electrical issues? Well, available 24/7. The Lee Company team handles electrical problems and more in short order. From routine repairs on outlets and switches to fixture upgrades and generator installations, their award-winning electricians will get the job done right the first time. Contact Lee Company for all your home electrical needs online at leecompany.com. Their website is great. Lee Company, they have been working here in Middle Tennessee for 80 years. Trusted since 1944. That's more than 80 years of experience understanding how to do business the right way with 14 community locations. They're involved in the communities here in Tennessee and also in Kentucky and Alabama. When they come out to fix your problem, they get it done right the first time. 615-567-1000 is the number to call. Head online to leecompany.com to schedule with an experienced electrician. That's Lee Company, all you need.
It is 9:03 from the 104.5 The Zone studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The 2025 NFL schedule officially released yesterday, and we know the Tennessee Titans' full 17-game slate. Some notable takeaways. Titans are one of 3 teams in the league that have 0 primetime games. They do, however, have 5 games in the afternoon slate of games, all away, playing at Denver, at Arizona, at Las Vegas, at Indianapolis, and at San Francisco. And the home opener is Week 2 as they host Matthew Stafford and the L.A. Rams. Last night, Nashville SC beat the New York Red Bulls 2-1 thanks to goals from Patrick Yazbek and Hani Mukhtar. The win marked the first time Nashville has beaten the Red Bulls since being a part of the MLS back in 2020. In the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder traveled to Denver tonight to face the Nuggets in Game 6. The Thunder could knock off the Nuggets tonight as they lead the series 3-2. The Minnesota Timberwolves await the winner of the Thunder and Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. And in the NHL, 2 games tonight and 2 series on the line. The Carolina Hurricanes are in Washington tonight as they lead the Capitals 3-1. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. And the Dallas Stars in Winnipeg tonight as they lead the Jets 3-1 with puck drop at 8:30. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone into the 4th and final hour on this Thursday morning, this Friday Junior, as we know it on this program. Visit a locally owned Scooter's location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. He's the 11-year NFL vet, the Vol Network analyst, the one and only Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer. I'm Will Bowling, and coming up in 15 minutes, we will be joined by Bryce Kuhn of LSU 247. Going to talk some SEC football as, again, we have promised you the beat writer covering every team in the SEC throughout the spring and summer. We knocked the LSU Tigers off the list, Ramon, coming up in 15 minutes.
I'm looking forward to that, man, because here's what I do know. They're projected to be a good team, and not just that, seeing what comes out of LSU as far as the draft goes, too. I think they're going to have a lot of prospects, man. I'm over here writing notes and stuff now.
Sure.
About what their first month and a half, honestly, is going to look like for the LSU Tigers. Go Tigers.
One of the most fascinating teams to me in college football this upcoming season in terms of what their ceiling is, what they could be as a program, and the pressure on Brian Kelly to not just get to the gates of the promised land, but the top of the mountain of the promised land, because national championships are all that matters in Baton Rouge. So we'll talk to Bryce about that coming up here in 15 minutes. Ramon, we have a Titans schedule that features a 3-game road trip from the end of September to the beginning of October.
Yep.
In Houston, in Arizona, in Vegas. September 28th, October 5th, and October 12th. 4 straight home games. Rhett Bryan of Titans Radio telling us it's the first time since 2015 that the Titans have had a season with 4 straight home games. They'll get that from November 2nd through November 30th. The Titans will not play a game outside of Nissan Stadium in the month of November, with their bye week sandwiched in the middle of that, the second weekend of November. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting to see the way that stretch of games defines this season, Ramon. A good schedule with consistent timing for a good young team.
It is, man. It's going to be necessary. So we speak about getting into your mode a little bit, finding what your schedule is going to look like, man. I do think this, as much as we've talked about prime time and scheduling and stuff like that, it's a matter of getting the footing under the franchise quarterback moving forward. And not just that, I'll just move more offensively with the offensive line. Somewhat getting themselves together, too. This is a structure that I think works best for where this team is. Take the lights off of you. I know it'd be exciting to have that be a part of it, but you take the lights off of you and you truly continue to move the bulldozers and push dirt around as you continue this rebuild. What was fascinating, we didn't bring it up much at all, but Coach Mack dropped earlier that they're going to try to do joint practices.
Yeah.
With Tampa and with also the Atlanta Falcons. I thought that was super unique, Will.
Sure. Yeah, preseason games, days and times TBD for the first 2 preseason weeks. The Titans will head to Tampa, a News 2 broadcast of the first week of preseason. The second week, the Titans will go to Atlanta. Again, that one on News 2. And then one caveat to the home preseason game. That will be nationally televised by CBS. So a Friday night broadcast on CBS against the Minnesota Vikings, the final preseason game for the Titans. That's your one home preseason game, considering this year the AFC gets that extra home game in the 17-game schedule. So 9 regular season home games, 8 regular season road games means you go on the road twice in preseason, and you just get the one home game in preseason.
Oh, by the way, I was going to bring it up, but we had calls earlier, too.
Sure.
Schedule release. The Titans had, what was it, Rizzy?
Schedule Rizzy.
Schedule Rizzy.
Yeah. And they mentioned some of the side effects as they read out teams. Imposter syndrome, as they said the Texans, was the best part of the entire thing. Very, very, very well done. What'd you say?
Jock itch for the Jags. Diarrhea for the Browns.
Sure. There were a lot of jorts down there, so that makes sense.
Cold.
And then they said diarrhea for the Browns, which I know Ramon Foster can certainly enjoy.
That one ain't on me, okay? I had no part of the creative imaging on that.
You got a lot of friends around there. You could have influenced somebody to say diarrhea about the Cleveland Browns.
Listen, they said it, not me.
You got friends in a lot of buildings in football in this state.
Here and there, but I will say, man, I know it probably might not get much fanfare here, but I absolutely loved the Buffalo Bills release.
What was it?
It
I didn't see
was
that one.
them calling Josh Allen as he's shooting basketball, and I'm just thinking, okay, something's coming up.
Yeah.
But it was whoever their guy was that called him was like, what do I do for the schedule release? He said, just use AI. Just use AI. He was like, what? All right, well, I'll use AI. And they ended up incorporating Allen Iverson into their schedule release as just using AI.
Use AI. Nice.
Yes, that's the only AI. We know the answer. You
That's
feel
funny.
me? And it was kind of cool. AI did good in this bit. It wasn't like he was acting outside of himself, but it was. If you hadn't seen it, I think it's cool. At the end, they did try. I'm not sure he was a fan of. He may be an Eagles fan or Commanders because he's from the DMV.
Sure.
Heck, he might be a Baltimore fan. But they said, hey, can we go here? We go Buffalo. He said, here we go, Josh Allen.
That's great.
So he was
Nice.
clean. He was
Nice.
clean. And all he did was hold up the schedule. But, man, I like seeing legends like that
That's
be
fun.
a part of pop culture
Sure.
like this.
I like it. I did like the Falcons schedule release as Mario Kart. Did you see that?
I did not see that one.
They we'll put it out, but they did it as literally a game of loading into Mario Kart, which is one of the greatest video games of all time.
Yeah.
Obviously. And that was a good one. I just feel like the Chargers at this point, everyone talks about the Chargers as the best social media in the NFL. To me, they do too much. We don't need a 4.5-minute video of releasing your schedule. Let's land the plane, guys.
They also
Let's
did the
get to it.
Pop-Tart thing again. So what, the third, fourth year in a row they've done the Pop-Tart thing?
I legitimately.
What Pop-Tart?
Who they did?
Oh, where they compare every team on their schedule to a Pop-Tart. So like Will Levis and the Titans on their schedule was a Mayo Pop-Tart.
Who did that?
The Chargers.
Was it
They've
2
done
years
it for
ago?
the
The
last
Chargers did Minecraft.
They did Minecraft this time.
No, so they do like a picture one.
On their
They
account.
have a
Okay, the
of,
thread.
You know, their
Yeah,
team
they
as
got two.
Pop-Tarts. And
I
then they
missed
also have
that
a video.
They got too much time in their hands.
I just got turned off. Like after like 2 minutes, I was like, all right, where we going? Where we going with this Minecraft thing? And I'm probably old guy that don't play Minecraft, so I was just out of it. I know I bought a lot of their toys for the kids,
Sure.
but 4 minutes on a release was a bit too much.
You see the Colts put out a schedule and then deleted it? Classic.
Twitter fingers is always hot.
Of course they did. Within that, there was a video of Will Levis Will Levis getting run over by a bachelorette party bus.
Did they have that?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way. That's line stepping a little bit, ain't it?
It's not great.
Apparently, they did a tweet and delete too because they had who was it that got arrested?
They had Tyreek Hill as a dolphin. They also did Minecraft, classic, with the Minecraft movie coming out, I guess. The Colts deleted their schedule after having the Coast Guard arresting Tyreek Hill in the video. Tyreek Hill as a Minecraft dolphin.
Come on, man.
Dang.
Come on, man. Coach, y'all had your issues too, man. Somebody should have laid Anthony Richardson down with a bunch of L's on his back with the tattoos that he did. Like, we could have went that route. Like, I can be creative with it too. But
yeah, Minecraft was clearly the theme of the year considering that movie just came out.
Maybe my kids are definitely aged out of Minecraft toys and stuff. But, like, I didn't know it was still as popular. I'm not in, like, the
Minecraft,
small
yeah.
kid era with my boys, so we're not doing that one.
I never got into it. It was never a Minecraft game.
No, it's serious. They played it often. It was very popular. It is very popular still, clearly.
No, yeah, 100%. It's certainly popular. That was never. I grew up playing football and soccer video games, and a little bit of baseball sprinkled in there as well. I was never anything but sports video games growing up.
Yeah, no, Minecraft wasn't high on my list, though.
I learned a lot about coverages on defense playing the Madden NCAA football video games.
Well, what you learn from the video games is players' name recognition plays a part into it, too.
That's also what I grew to love Brad Nessler as a play-by-play broadcaster because he was always the voice of the NCAA football video game.
You know what you can also learn from Madden also? How to continue to sign your franchise quarterback if you're Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Or how to be a bad GM. One or the other match.
I know Buck and Lucas talked about it yesterday. You interested in this Madden biopic that's coming out with Nick Cage playing John Madden?
I kind of am.
Christian Bale playing Al Davis?
I don't know much about John Madden.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to find out about him. Yes, I'm very much into that one.
Very interested. I love Christian Bale.
Yeah, he ever since American Psycho, when he's seeing how he played that role, I buy into
Batman.
it.
I was going to say, I'm a dude in my 20s, so I just know him for Batman.
Yes, 100%. I went back and watched American Psycho. That is, boy, he acted his butt off.
My nickname in high school, American Psycho.
Make me question guys like him. That was your nickname in high school?
No, it wasn't. 615-737-1045. We'll get back to the phone calls at the end of the final hour. But coming up next, Bryce Kuhn of LSU 247. Our SEC Spring Football Series continues. We'll talk a little bit of LSU Tiger Spring Practice coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, man, nobody wants to deal with the plumbing, HVAC, or any electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed right, or if someone trying to sell you something you just simply don't need. When you reach out to Hiller, though, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. They do it at my house. I'm also a user, customer of Hiller. So I believe in the work that they do. And here's what I do know is anytime they pass me off my bill, man, the price I'm told is exactly what I'll pay. There are no hidden fees, no surprises when I get them. But another part about Hiller is this. They've been in business for over 35 years, and are family owned and operated too. With their techs, whenever they send them out to your home, they're professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And today they always do a background check and drug screen too. And when they're on their way, you'll receive a photo to your phone of the tech and a link to track them in real time. More times than not, they're going to show up early to your house so they can get you taken care of quickly. To book with a company that I trust, man, or just learn more about them, simply visit happyhiller.com.
Ramona Will on 104.5 The Zone on this Thursday morning alongside VFL Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer as we talk some college football on this Thursday morning and continue our SEC spring football series. We promise you a beat writer covering every SEC team. We do that with Bryce Kuhn of LSU 247. Kind enough to join us this morning. And maybe most importantly, Bryce, you're also someone who kind of likes the Tennessee Titans. So you're amongst friends this morning. What's going on, man?
What's up, fellas? No, I appreciate you having me on. And, man, I know, excited for, you mentioned spring football wraparound. We're less than, 105 days, something like that, to the college football opener. SEC media days ramping up here in about a month and a half. So we're officially into talking season. So, no, I'm excited to hop on with you guys and talk some LSU.
I love it. Well, let's start just with the broad kind of energy around the entire program, Bryce, because as you know, LSU fans settle for nothing less than championships and being right up there with the elites. What kind of pressure is on Brian Kelly this season, and what is the mood around this team with a lot of new faces and a lot of talent on this roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you kind of combine the disappointment of the month of November for this team, I mean, you go back to November, they were really at the top of the conference along with Texas A&M as they headed to College Station, lost that game in what was really disappointing fashion for them. I mean, just completely outgunned and outmanned in that second half. Then you lose to Alabama, and then you go on the road to lose to Florida, and by that point, your season is essentially over. I mean, at that point, you got 3 losses. You might have a slim chance. So the disappointment factor, I think, is very real for last year. So it does provide some pressure here in year 4 to win and win now. And it's a big reason why they went out and spent. I mean, the dollar figures have ranged everywhere from $15 to $20 to $25 million that they spent on this roster. Very heavy in the portal, veteran talent they brought in. And so it really is coming to a head where 2025, I feel like, and a lot of media around the program feel like, this is a make-or-break year for Brian Kelly to make that 12-team playoffs.
Bryce Kuhn covers LSU football for 247 Sports. Kind enough to join us, talk some LSU football this morning. So, Bryce, for Garrett Nussmeier, not only as an NFL prospect, but as one of the returning quarterbacks on contenders this year, there are not many of those, especially not in the SEC in a year where Alabama and Georgia will both have new QBs. How high are the expectations for Garrett Nussmeier, and what have the offseason adjustments and conversations been like around him so far this spring?
Well, I'm going to say this, and it's going to pique the interest of college football fans and also the interest of LSU fans. The expectations are high. The reason why is the last 2 quarterbacks that have kind of entered year 2 in the system, what have they done? Won the Heisman Trophy and been really good in the NFL so far. That's Joe Burrow and Jayden Daniels. So the lineage of what it means to be kind of in your second full year as the starter at LSU comes with high expectations, especially recently. So I think there's a lot to like about his game. Look, you can't deny the numbers that he put up, but also you have to acknowledge turn the ball over as well. And, you know, whatever that was due to, is it due to, you know, the receiving core last year not being what it was the year prior, obviously the guys like Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr.? Is it more of a situation where you're sitting there where you didn't really have a run game last year? That's also a massive factor in the equation of why they need to be successful this year and why he might have turned the ball over, because it was a lot on him personally to get things done. So you mentioned, though, kind of when you look around this conference, there's not really a ton of names in terms of proven production. And Nussmeier does enter kind of a rarefied air in the SEC where you just kind of have him, and then you got a bunch of guys that we think are going to be really good and should be really good, but we don't really know. And so it's really one of those things where I think with Nussmeier, it's about internal development, it's about leadership, and it's about kind of toning down some of the gunslinger mentality that, look, makes him exciting to watch, but also puts the ball in a little bit of harm's way. So it's a big year for him, the final year, and like I mentioned earlier, it's why they spend a lot on this roster. You're kind of going all in with him as your quarterback before you kind of have to reset things. in 2026.
No doubt about it. 247, Bryce Coon with us this morning. Bryce, man, you mentioned something as far as Brian Kelly's concerned, how big of a season this is. Also, I just got to ask you, like, the mindset for Coach going into this one, man, because the month of September is going to be kind of treacherous. Number one, opening up with Clemson, with K. Klubnik is not an easy task, but not just that. But Louisiana Tech, I get that one. But Florida, with the guy that they have at quarterback, Southeast Louisiana, and then you come back with Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. There's a lot that could go good or bad for LSU, man. What does Coach Brian Kelly got to do to get those guys ready for these big moments?
Well, if you ask the fan base, the first thing is you got to win game one, which is something they have not done under Brian Kelly. It's kind of a little bit of a bugaboo about this group right now is, you know, you go back to his first year when they were playing Florida State down in New Orleans, the back-to-back Florida State games, and then obviously last year against USC out in Las Vegas. They haven't been able to come through in that. So setting the tone week one, and we've kind of said this, like, you can't win the playoff or you can't guarantee a playoff spot in the month of September, but I certainly think that you can lose it. And like you kind of laid out that schedule, if you get through Clemson and you're able to go in there, which I think, frankly, guys, is probably one of the top 3, top 5 most talented teams in the country on paper entering this season. If you go to their place and beat them, that's a statement win, not just for Kelly and his tenure at LSU, but it's also a statement win in terms of what it could mean for your season. Then you, like you said, you welcome in a team in Florida who beat you last year at their place. They feel like they're better. I've made the argument with lots of people on social media and on our message boards over Go 24/7. I think Lagway has a case to be the most God-given talented quarterback in the country this year. He's got all the tools to be that. And then obviously Lane Kiffin. Look, they lost a lot, but Ole Miss has done a pretty good job on paper of replacing what they want to do. So all those things being considered, like I said, I don't think you can win the SEC. You can't win a playoff spot, but you could lose one. And so it's a tone-setting month for the fan base, for Brian Kelly to be able to, I mean, I guess the best way to put it is make or break. We talked about it. It's a make or break 2025 season. So you're really going to set the tone, and we're going to figure out what this team is very early on.
247 Sports, Bryce Coon with us this morning. Bryce, with that being said, you mentioned the amount of money allegedly. By the way, these numbers are crazy coming out. Between 20 to 40 million. I mean, imagine a $40 million roster. But besides, let's keep it LSU right here. Through the draft, being good with the talent that you have, you lost a lot of bigs in the NFL draft this year, man, with Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Miles Frazier, Garrett Dellinger. But also, too, you look at a guy in Mason Taylor around the line of scrimmage, along with some defensive linemen. What did they do to try to help replenish that? Because in the SEC, we said we want to about these quarterbacks, but it is always a physical ground and pound game that has to be played if you're trying to make it out of the SEC.
It is. And I mentioned earlier, like, they did not run the ball well at all last year, even with all of those guys. So there is a sense of there's a new group help in that category. I don't know. I mean, like the guys you just listed off, those are all guys going to be on NFL rosters, whether they're on the 53-man or they're on the practice squad, headlined there by Will Campbell, and obviously you mentioned Emory Jones in Baltimore. No, this is a group that I think up front has the talent. Brad Davis, offensive line coach, has recruited very well over the past 2 to 3 seasons to stockpile depth, kind of behind those notable names you mentioned. Now it's time to talk about development. It's time to talk about, okay, does the star ranking match up with the player? And we're going to figure that out. During spring football, they were willing to kind of mix and match some of their younger guys with some of the transfers they brought in. And Brian Kelly said this. He goes, we feel like we have about 8, maybe even 9 guys that could start for us on the offensive line. Now, if you've been a fan of football long enough and you've watched enough press conferences, that's either a really good thing or it's a really bad thing. And I tend to think and believe it is a good thing in terms of the raw talent they have. They just got to find the right combination of 5 guys that can make them a balanced offense to help alleviate some of that pressure off of Garrett Nussmeier, to help open up the run game and lead this team in 2025. But, I mean, like you mentioned, we can talk about this new scale of offense. We can talk about, Garrett Nussmeier. But like you said, you have to be able to run the football in this conference. LSU's going to have to do that with a really good stable of running backs, young guys they have in the backfield. And so it's going to be interesting to watch. But like you said, you cannot ignore the amount of guys that were drafted off that offensive line or signed contracts at the next level.
I will say, though, I appreciate you being upfront and honest with me about, you guys not being a good running team because y'all sent 2 offensive linemen to Baltimore. And as a former Steeler, that pleases me, okay? That pleases me right there, Bryce. Appreciate that.
Classic. The AFC North hate comes out at any given moment. Bryce Kuhn, LSU 247, joining us this morning. So, Bryce, I'm fascinated by Blake Baker's defense. That second-year defensive coordinator got more of his guys on that defense. Obviously, Harold Perkins Jr. and his role as a Swiss Army knife is well documented. Where did they improve the most over the course of last season? Because the Alabama game is something a lot of people will think about, and the mobile quarterback aspect that LSU just couldn't figure out last year. Where did they improve last year, and what do you think they have done this offseason to address some of their weaknesses on that side of the ball last year?
Will, you just brought back PTSD for myself and a lot of LSU.
I know.
Thinking about that run game and defending it. No, look, I mean, you talk about Jalen Milroe, what he did. I don't think there was a fan base happier to see him gone than LSU. And then obviously, too, that second half, like I mentioned earlier in the show, against Marcel Reed and Texas A&M. I mean, they ran zone read concepts the entire time, and LSU couldn't stop it. So, to your point, where have they improved the most? I have said this on multiple shows. And, look, you guys have followed football. You've been in and around the game. You understand this. When people think about LSU, they think about defensive backs. And that is something that has been sorely, sorely lacking from this team, the ability to cover at an elite level and also the ability to tackle in those run alleys as well and fit run scheme gaps from your essentially, we talk about linebacker play. They have a lot of tweeners, a guy that can play, the star, the rover position. That being said, they haven't been good there. And so I say with the additions they've made in the transfer portal, with some of the additions and the growth they feel like from the freshmen going into their sophomore year, that's probably the group that has seen their floor raised as much as it has been. But the floor is higher. Now, can I tell you the potential? I think it could be really good, but I'm not really sure. I mean, they've got a freshman, 6'4", DJ Pickett. He doesn't look like he's 18 years old. Early enrollee, has all the makings of a guy that can help bring back the moniker of DBU. They get Mansour Delane, who was a projected kind of day 2, day 3 pick out of Virginia Tech. They're able to keep him at the college ranks with a, and I know we joked about earlier, with a sizable investment into his fund in the transfer portal. But they're able to keep him and bring him into the portal, or out of the portal, I should say. So they made some really good additions. I like where the secondary is in terms of the floor. But like we mentioned earlier, the run game has to be better. In the SEC losses, here's a little stat for you. In SEC losses under Brian Kelly, this group has given up an average of around 215 yards on the ground in losses during his career at LSU.
Wow.
It hasn't been good. It has not been even, just being real with you, it hasn't even been a semblance of okay. It's completely unacceptable from everyone you talk about in that building. And Blake Baker was able to shave some of those stats off last year. I believe they cut down on their points per game, around 5 points per game and around 30 to 40 total yards per game. So incrementally it got better. This defensive line has got to play better. Gone are the days, if you're a real college football fan, gone are the days of Glenn Dorsey. He's not walking through that door. A couple of other guys that
Kyle Williams, don't get me started. Tyson Jackson, I got him. Trust me, that's my era.
But you know who's coaching that defensive line? It's Kyle Williams. And I'll tell you, he's colorful. I think he gets a lot out of these guys. That being said, the talent level still, to me, is not where it needs to be on the interior defensive line. But to your point, Will, it's got to be better. They feel like it's better. They've made some late transfer additions, most notably defensive tackle from South Florida, Bernard Gooden, who is pretty good when you go back and look at his sample size and some of the ratings and grades he received against when the Bulls played Alabama last year. So there's some things to take away that you're like, hey, you got something to work with. But it's going to be, like we mentioned earlier, it's going to have to be a pretty good job from first-year college coach Kyle Williams commanding that defensive line.
Hey, that's my dog.
You just made Ramon feel really old, by the way.
Hey, that's my guy.
I do it every day, Bryce. It's all right.
You run into him, you tell him Ramon Foster said what's up, because that's a dude right there. That's my guy.
I love it. Good stuff.
I will say we have enjoyed seeing, obviously the speeches that he gave when he was a player. I will tell you just the small sample size of what we saw at Kyle Williams in spring ball. I've told LSU fans this should give you hope in terms of inspired play and what that guy knows. And like, obviously you can attest to it more than I can, just in terms of what he knows about how to be successful for a long time in this sport. There's the lack of experience as a coach for sure, but man, when you talk about taking a guy and making him jump from the high school ranks to the college ranks, he's pretty well equipped, it feels like, to be able to pass on some knowledge.
Great stuff and great insight this morning from yeah, go ahead.
I'd be remiss if we don't bring him up because I cheered for him even at Kentucky. Kentucky.
Oh, that's right. Nashville native.
Native, Barry and Brown. I was shocked, and I bit my teeth and everything. I was like, why did he have to go to LSU? But listen to me. If Nussmeier is what you think he's going to be, Barry and Brown is him, okay? Has there been much talk about him down in Baton Rouge?
Throughout spring ball, it was really kind of an acclimation process for him and their other big off-season acquisition of Nick Anderson, the wide receiver from Oklahoma, that they really were trying to just bring into the fray. Joe Sloan, offensive coordinator, Cortez Hankton, that co-OC wide receiver coach's role. Both guys getting acquainted with how they want to run this offense. But, man, I had told people, look, if at full strength with what this wide receiver core can be, and look, there's talented ones, and I know you guys have talked with a lot of beat reporters about the wide receiver position. Auburn has some serious talent there if they can figure out quarterback. There's some teams, Georgia feels like they've revamped there. Alabama has a really nice group. I've told people, when you talk about a guy like Barry and Brown, and when we talk about speed, people love to talk about it, but I have never, ever, and I'm telling you this, never seen a guy be able to get in and out of a break and be able to shake somebody like Barry and Brown can.
Yep.
And I've been able to watch a guy like Malik Neighbors, who is elite at that. Justin Jefferson, those guys, great. But in terms of the combination of actual downfield speed, man, when you put Barry and Brown in this offense, and Garrett Nussmeier talked about this. He said, we needed a deep threat, someone that could do that. When you've got Barry and Brown going deep, when you've got Nick Anderson being that physical outside presence, and you got a guy like Aaron Anderson who blew up last year for LSU, it's going to be a headache for some defensive coordinators to kind of match up with this. They've got a lot of speed, a lot of physicality, and I didn't mention the pseudo basketball star turned football star Trey'Dez Green that's going to be lining up to tight end for them, 6'6", 6'7".
Yep.
They've got some weapons. So to your point, I think Barry and Brown fits perfect with what they want to do. It's all about making sure it happens and making sure everybody's on the same page.
Great insight with Bryce Kuhn of LSU 247 this morning. I give him a follow at Bryce_Kuhn, Koon. Does a great job covering the LSU Tigers, and someone we will certainly get back on as LSU plays some of the biggest games of the SEC, including Week 1 this upcoming season. Great to hear from you, man. Really appreciate the time. We'll talk soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
Appreciate it, fellas. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. There's Bryce Kuhn of 247 Sports talking some LSU football here this morning. And Ramon, I think, talking about one of the teams in a big group that has national title potential if the transfers and the unproven commodities hit this season.
This is going to be a big learning curve for a lot of teams because hearing these numbers being thrown out, 20 million, 40 million for portals, and what they do in recruiting too, it's going to make the NIL collectives and coaches be very strategic, Will, if it doesn't pay off. You have to be because
no doubt.
I waste my money as a donor. I'm not doing it again the next year, you know?
Right.
That's what you got to probably run into almost in a sense.
Coming up, John Glennon has a quote at Glennon Sports on Twitter from a Jonathan Jones interview with NFL VP of Broadcast Planning Mike North explaining why the Titans did not make the primetime schedule despite number 1 overall pick Cam Ward this upcoming season. Now, we'll give you that quote from the league on why the Titans aren't in primetime coming up next. Ramona will wrap it up the show on this Thursday morning edition. Visit a locally owned Scooters Coffee near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Final call for phone calls, 615-737-1045. So John Glennon put this out from a Jonathan Jones interview with NFL VP of Broadcast Planning Mike North, explaining, Ramon, why the Titans did not make the primetime schedule despite picking number one. Mike North says to Jonathan Jones of CBS, we kind of have this adage that you play your way into primetime. You don't draft your way into primetime. So the Titans are one of the teams that don't currently have a national television window assigned, but that's what things like flexible scheduling are for. And if you look down the stretch for the Titans, they play San Francisco in Week 15, Kansas City in Week 16. They've got the same opportunity every other team has to play their way into a national window.
Ooh.
That is NFL VP of Broadcast Planning Mike North to Jonathan Jones of CBS.
That makes sense.
Makes total sense.
And as I said earlier, too, they have to appease to their big spenders. Respectfully, if you put two bad teams or one really good team and a bad team on Netflix, Netflix loses, right? Because they want that number to go up. What it is, and NFL is not going to reward bad behavior is basically what they're saying. Because I would have thought the Cleveland Browns would have been in that conversation, but they're not. You're talking about a 2 times Coach of the Year with Stefanski, right? And he still didn't get that opportunity. It's because they got a bad product. You're uncertain on what their quarterback situation is going to be. Now, honestly, I don't think they want to talk about the quarterback situation up there.
Fair.
But they're not rewarding bad behavior. He was right. Earn it. To be fair to the fans here, too, that we've seen talk about this, they've said it, too. You don't deserve it. Go get it.
Right.
And that's as fair as you can get. It sucks, but that's your answer.
The part of that that's interesting to me is what is good for the fans is not always what is good for the team. Let's say the Titans did get a primetime game against the San Francisco 49ers, Week 15.
Yeah.
On the road, in primetime, on the West Coast. What time do you think that team plane would land back in Nashville, Ramon?
About 4 in the morning. Well, you get home about 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part of it, I think, that flies under the radar when you're going west back to east. Is the challenge within all of that. You lose a lot of hours when you're doing that, and Monday is a wash at that point. You get back at 4 a.m., like, I know these guys are professional athletes. I'm not here to baby them or coddle them. Like, they get it. These are tough guys. They get paid a lot of money. They're well compensated. That's still difficult for professional athletes. And again, like you always say, that's what the money's for, and I get it. But that's a tall task.
It is a tall task.
I'd rather just keep it where it is and not have the primetime attention, and you get back at midnight.
Yeah,
or 1 a.m. instead of 4 a.m.
Nothing wrong with what you got is what he said.
100%.
And if you earn it, they'll give it to you.
That is a practical example of where national attention is not always in the best interest of your football team. Being at noon and having consistency can be the best thing.
Yeah. Quiet as kept, man. This is probably what Coach Callahan, Borgonzi, and Brinker prefer, to be quite honest with you.
I think so. I think they are not mad about this in that building over there.
Because imagine this. Imagine if that Chicago game last year, the whole game, but you just move it to October and put it on prime time.
Right.
And respectfully, he ain't the only reason you lost this game, but there was a block punt for a touchdown they celebrated on you with, and Will Levis has his surrender Cobra moment, right? Like, they covered that more than anything, and that's what you don't want as a team, too, when you're not ready to. I mean, it's the NFL protecting its brand and also the Titans, too, I feel like.
I'm with you.
Programming note real quick.
Yeah.
Right quick, as I like to say from time to time.
Sure.
Will is off tomorrow.
Yep.
Got to go do some stuff, adult stuff.
I'm in my fiance is at a wedding. She's the maid of honor for one of her good college friends in a wedding outside D.C. So I am flying out today. Tell the people who will be joining you tomorrow.
And co-hosting the show with Zach Lyons and Stoney Keeley.
Let's go.
A.K.A. Steely, as I like to call him from time to time. Be in the studio. My first time seeing him and meeting him in person. But also, real cool, man. We're going to try to do a little bit more of this and get him incorporated into this thing, too. In the 8 o'clock hour, Cortland Finnegan is going to join us in studio, man. Colin, man, talked to him the other day on the phone. Super solid, man. He's excited to come in and get involved, man.
I love it.
Connected him with some folks over at Titans Radio. So, hey, Hopefully we get more of Cortland around here, man. I don't think he's said a whole lot, but I know he's ready to come into this space.
Dabble into the sports entertainer world.
No doubt, man.
I like it.
I'm looking forward to having Cortland in. And also, we can just start talking about the secondary side of this thing instead of speaking on the O-line, D-line stuff. So I like that balance.
All right. Yeah. Football and other F words, plus Ramon Foster, plus Cortland Finnegan tomorrow. So our normal Friday guest as well, I would imagine. Brent Hubbs at 7:20, Ron Slay at 9:20,
man,
and Cortland Finnegan at hour 3 in studio.
If Savage comes in too, that'll be 5 in here, and I can imagine Savage and Cortland together crossing paths like that.
Ooh, I like it. Another former Titan for us to have in our Rolodex. That's good stuff.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm looking forward to the conversation with Cortland.
Nice.
No doubt about it.
In other schedule release news, did y'all see the Jags on TikTok?
No.
I think, Justin, 5% of our audience is going to even understand the reference they were trying to make with us.
So Sabrina Carpenter, do you know who Sabrina is, Ramon?
I think I saw the video.
The song
of what
Espresso?
It was. I don't know the song.
Think about me every night.
No, I thought it was called Juno, where she talks about positions.
I'm just telling him what her biggest song is.
Don't register.
So, they did their 2025 opponents as positions in that song.
And yes, positions like positions.
Oh.
It's only on TikTok. But.
She does that in one part of all of her shows in a song.
Okay.
And they did different positions as every opponent on their TikTok.
Are they okay to do that? Are they okay to do that?
Yeah, I no.
Is she a Jags fan?
No.
She's not.
She's from Philly. I think she's an Eagles fan.
Okay.
She is a guilty pleasure artist for me. Sabrina Carpenter music slaps.
Yeah,
I will hear no argument otherwise. Her music is very good.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Titans position was like a woo girl, like just waving up in the air, just like you just don't care.
Okay. Well, I guess if she put it out there, they can use it. I just saw.
I mean, they can. Or should they? It's a separate.
I saw the clip of something that was a little bit more revealing, I thought, for an NFL team. But hey, I mean, we got Magic City Mondays in Atlanta.
The Colts have already issued an apology about they didn't have the rights to use Microsoft stuff, and they also had an insensitive remark of Tyreek Hill getting arrested. So anyway, interesting to say the least. I will see you guys Monday here on the program. We'll be back at it as a full crew. Then tomorrow, football and other F words joins Ramon for 4 hours. Cortland Finnegan, Brent Hubbs, Ron Slay. Should be fun, Ramon. Looking forward to it.
Steely and also Zach Lyons, baby. Let's roll, man. Hey,
Love it.
Good people at all times. You must remember your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.